throws it back in front. Great pass. Lindstrom scores. Kane Lindstrom.
Well, a fantastic Friday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. And remember, it's Friday. You know what that means? Woo! Lotto Max, baby. $23 million up for grabs. Get yours at PlayAlberta.ca. It is also NHL Draft 2024. Oilers, they don't have a pick today. They actually don't have a pick until number 64. And then they don't have their next pick until 160th. They'll end up with 6 draft picks, but 5 of them coming in the final, 65 picks of the draft, where in the cap era, so from 2006 and beyond, there has been a total of 50 players drafted 150th or higher who have gone on to play 400 games. So that's a 6.7% chance that you will find someone in there to play. And that's basically what the Oilers scouting staff is looking at. Outside of their late second rounder, those are the odds. I always try to remind people, because you know what? Many people who use the word bust, which might be the most ignorant term I've ever heard when someone hasn't even been in the NHL that long, on Philip Broberg, as recent as a few months ago. You can go read them. Oh, he's a bust. No, you're an idiot. He's not a bust. Far from it. And picks 4, 5, 6, 7th round, guess what? They take a long time. Not 2 or 3 years. I'm talking 6 or 7 years. Right? Vincent Desharnais is one of only 4 NHL defensemen. 4 NHL players after pick 150 of the 2016 draft who are in the NHL and look to be guys to play 300 games. 1 of 4. And he's only played 114 games. Right? It takes a while. So calm down. Take a deep breath. Serenity now. Serenity now when it comes to expectation. Will Rick Precy and his team make good picks? We'll find out. My biggest pet peeve will happen probably first thing tomorrow morning when you have, who won the draft articles. I know they get lots of play, but they're ridiculous. No offense to the authors, and I respect all the time you put in, but they're ridiculous. A, you haven't even seen most of the players from the people who write them. B, it's this, and it'll give it A rating. Oh, you mean the guy San Jose is going to get an A rating because they got Celebrini? Okay, thanks. But after that, let's be honest. No one knows. Not even the scouts themselves. Rick Precy even told us that when we had him on the show earlier. Like, it is hard. You're drafting 17 and 18-year-olds, sometimes 19. And you're really projecting them and kind of hoping. How are they going to grow? How are they going to mature? Is this their peak? Because some players it is. This is the best they're going to be. Right? They don't get faster. They don't necessarily get any stronger. Or maybe their hockey IQ can't handle the higher speeds of pro hockey. Right? It's hard. You can project it. And, there's obviously some easy picks. Connor McDavid. Anybody in the world could have picked Connor McDavid first overall. It wasn't hard. Right? There's some that are easy picks. And there's others, you're like, why'd this guy fall? What happened? Like Jamie Benn and Art Ross, winner in the 5th round. So, yeah, it happens. Right? There's been lots of good late round picks over the years. Joe Pavelski, actually, it's funny. When I was doing that, you look at the San Jose Sharks, and when you consistently do it, it's not luck. Joe Pavelski, Jason Demers, Kevin LeBanc, guys who played 4, 6, 1,300 games and played very well, being late round picks. So I look at the draft, And you hope that Pracey and his team, if you're an Oilers fan, you hope that they can uncover some late round gems. But honestly, they're not going to help your team until like 2029 at the earliest. That's just so once you wrap your head around that, you're like, oh, this is good. I'm happy. The kids get drafted. It's a big day. It's an exciting day, as it should be. It's great. But pump the brakes on unrealistic expectations. That's all I will say. Because every year, people are freaking out over this guy or that guy. Right? And hey, there's some years they get it right. Some years they don't. There's teams that have drafted very well for a few years. And then all of a sudden, the next few years, they don't hit. Why? I have no idea. Because I've talked to the scouts who have had a good run. And then all of a sudden it goes dry and they're like, what's going on? Like, what we didn't really change our philosophy. What happened? You don't really know. There is definitely a little bit of luck involved. So we will talk about the draft, but also, man, there's some wheeling and dealing. Washington Capitals jumping in the trade market again as they acquire Andrew Mangiapane for a second rounder in 2025 from the Calgary Flames. A little bit of a salary dump, really, for the Flames. Frees up some money for them. There was also the trade late last night. Carl Grundstrom goes from LA to San Jose for Kyle Burrows. Goes to San Jose, from LA. Also, and this is the third one of these trades. We never used to see these. The Montreal Canadiens moved up in the draft today. And so now they have the 21st pick, and the Kings get the first rounder, a second rounder, and a seventh rounder. It's just kind of interesting. You know what? So they moved up 5 spots and gave up a 57th and 198th pick. Like 57th second rounders, decent. It's a late second rounder, but still. So obviously the LA Kings are somebody that they think is going to be there that they really want, or at least 2 or 3 players that they don't think are going to be there at 26. Like my question would be, now maybe there was other teams that were worried that other teams might want to make a move. I just find it interesting. We've seen that with San Jose and Buffalo, Buffalo twice actually, leading up to this draft, where the first round picks have been swapped before a player's name has even been called. So it's just interesting. I kind of like it. Also today, the Edmonton Elks. Oh my goodness. If you're an Elks fan, you're kind of like, what is happening? Didn't I just watch this? Although different, right? They lost a shootout last time to Toronto. Yesterday, to me, I think it comes down to it's pretty simple. I think what cost them that game yesterday, they needed better quarterback play from Bethel Thompson. And he's been good this year, but look at the miss pass that he had. He had Cobb wide open 3 minutes into the third quarter, wide open on a pass he should make in his sleep. He's right down the seam. He catches that pass. He walks into the end zone backwards. And he didn't just overthrow him by a bit. He overthrew him by 4 or 5 yards. It wasn't close. 2 throws later, it's an interception. So they didn't even get a field goal out of it. So that's one play. Then 2:20 remaining in the game. He airs it out down the seam. Mitchell is wide open behind the defenders, overthrows him by another 4 yards. Now, I'm not sold he would have scored a touchdown on that play because the angle of the inside defender on BC might have caught Mitchell. But they would have gained huge momentum and probably been at least down to the 20. And what about the time count violation at the end of the second quarter that cost him because it's in the final 3 minutes? And you know this. You're a veteran quarterback. This is not a rook. This is why you brought in the veteran. These mistakes aren't supposed to happen. Time count violation cost them second down. Now they have to punt. And BC gets more time. They come down the field, get a field goal. There's your ball game. That's it right there. Those 3 major plays killed them. And it wasn't like BC did it. BC's defense was exposed on both of those passes. Your quarterback's got to hit them. Like completing less than 65% of your passes isn't great today. I'm sorry, it's not. Right? Like your average pass completion was 8 yards. Geno Lewis, what are you paying him for? Like, honestly, are they paying him to be a decoy? Don't give me this. Well, the defense, we're taking what they give you. Oh, so you're going to be happy with them taking away your best receiver. Because it seems right now they're like, you know what? Hey, let's just go by committee. Everybody's going to get balls, and this is going to be great. Oh, yeah? How's it working out? You're 0-4. What they talk about is, hey, Geno Lewis, great wingspan. Guy can go up, get everything. So let's throw him 3 balls. He has 1 catch for 6 yards. What? Like, and that's happened in what, 3 of the 4 games? Not good enough. But they brought in a quarterback, sat down Trey Ford, because it was supposed to help them win. Well, they're 0-4. Now, Connor, I don't want to live in the past, but geez, let's refresh the memory. Weren't the Oilers 0-4 last year as Trey Ford sat on the bench? And what, they get to 0-7, 0-8 before he finally started?
Shut out a couple times by BC. Yep.
Yeah. Shut out twice. Oh, no, let's stick with him. Like, honestly, I'm sorry. 1 really good offensive game, 2 decent ones, and yesterday was not remotely good enough from your veteran quarterback. Not remotely good enough. And that was a winnable game. A winnable game. So, we'll see. Now are they going to bye week now, Cons?
Bye week and
Yes.
then back-to-back with the Red Blacks.
Yes. Home and away. So, their next home game is the 14th. And you've got it. If you want your fans to come back, you got to win a game. And you really got to win a game on home field. It is a must. Trey Ford and the wins brought fans back to the stadium last year in the second half of the season. We saw it. They had 30,000 fans one of those games, and they weren't making the playoffs. There is lots of people in this market that will cheer for your team. Win a damn game. It's that simple. Right? Like, when you consider time count violation, right? Then they call it. They were going to get another one, Cons, in the second half. They had to call a timeout, right? And they did it in the first half. Like, what the hell's going on here? Why is it taking so long to get the plays in? It's like it's amateur hour. Special teams. You got a veteran, Tanner, going offside on a kickoff. Now, it only cost him 15 yards, but go back and look at that play. They would have had to kick a 50-yard field goal, Connor. A 40, it would have been way longer because they got down to the 35. Why? Because he ran offside. On a kick. What? Like, before the ball's even kicked. How does that happen? Where's the discipline? What is your coaching staff doing? Because this is not new. This is repeat, man. So we'll see. I'm very curious when the new ownership's announced. Like, unless there's some massive comeback here in the second half, I don't see how you come back with Chris Jones again. Like, I'm sorry, it's 0-4 again. Look at his record as GM and coach. Okay? It is disgustingly bad. Not bad, Connor. Disgustingly bad.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, someone has to take the blame for the lack of discipline that we've seen from this team. And it seems to be 1 or 2 every game where it's shooting themselves in the foot. Kai Gray had the pass interference last week. A couple weeks ago, it was Robert Kimdichie with the very, very bad penalty after the whistle, the unnecessary roughness, little things like that. And I like McLeod Bethel-Thompson. Like, I think he made a play last night on the blitz that I don't know if Trey Ford does. But Trey Ford, he might not make the throw, but with the legs, the plays that he can make to extend drives where McLeod Bethel-Thompson doesn't have that, I think it's got to make you think we should do this. You have the bye week, Gregor. This is the opportunity to make the transition. You have 2 games against Ottawa, who are not the toughest team in the league. I think this is the time to do it. And, we saw what he can do. He was still developing as a passer, but he can buy time with his legs, find players downfield, and make plays that they need to see. And I've been to both home games. There's a lot of 2s in the crowd. A lot of people wearing that Ford jersey. So I like McLeod Bethel Thompson, but right now, I mean, if this team wants to win, I think now is the time to make that switch to Trey Ford.
35 and 59. How about 8 and 32 in 40 games as head coach and GM of the Elks? 8 and 32. Now, you know what? There's no change coming right now because you're in negotiations to sell the team. They're going to make any changes. But my God, that's awful. 8 and 32. And the hilarious part is, look at their record when Trey Ford doesn't start. It's even worse because all 4 wins came when he started last year. It's still mind-blowing to me why you at least don't give him a snap. You're allowed 2 quarterbacks in the game now, Connor. It's a new rule. It's allowed. You've got one of the most dynamic runners, but let's not think outside the box because we're too good. No, you're not good enough. You need to come up with some trick plays. You need to force the defense to be on their heels a little bit because you're not good enough. You don't know how to win games. You do not know how to win games. They know how to lose games. They've shown it time and time again. And that's what happens. Winning teams find ways to win the games that they shouldn't win. Right? Winnipeg's done it. Last year, the Bombers, they're slow start now. But last year, that's what they did. And, maybe it's kind of the end of their great run. But they found ways to win games. And all the Elks do is find ways to lose games. And, at some point, it's got to change. So we'll see about that. So we'll talk a little about that. Dave Naylor's coming up. The Edmonton Oilers. I wrote it on Wednesday. Expect Calvin Pickard to sign in Edmonton. Now the reports it's a 2-year deal. It's going to be close to league minimum, right? He comes in, he'll be the backup, and I also think that there will be a chance, right? Olivier Rodrigue is going to be the full-time starter in Bakersfield again, but don't be surprised by next year that's a competition because a good third string goalie is worth his weight in gold because you get one injury, you need him, right? So that's why I think you sign Pickard to a 2-year deal because the second year, if you think Rodrigue's ready now to play, and now Stuart Skinner's got, 3 full seasons under his belt, it's not a big deal. And then you have a backup plan in Pickard. So a 2-year deal actually makes a lot of sense because if you send him down to the minors, he's not counting on the cap. Now, there's always the risk another team claims him, right? So you would have to be strategic timing it when you would do it. But it makes sense on Pickard. I'm going to guess $800K, something around there is probably what you sign him for. And you move on. I think it also, once that signing's official, the Oilers have until the 30th to buy out Jack Campbell. I won't be surprised if they put him on waivers later today or tomorrow. Now, they're going to wait, and they're going to try to trade him first, right? That's what Jeff Jackson's going to be working on here in the next 24 hours, is to just in case see, is there a possible deal? We'll retain salary, and you take the other half. But even at what's hard about that trade is he's still a $2.5 million goalie. And some teams are going to look and say, well, you buy him out. We could probably sign him for $1 million, right? And bring him as a backup. Because I think Jack Campbell can play in the league. I don't doubt it. It's just at $5 million, it's not going to happen. And when you're in a cap crunch for the Oilers, you don't really have much other option. So it's kind of how I see it played out. On the show today, we will hear from Naylor. Sean Brown will join us, so we'll have Tater in the 2-minute warning. Jordan Hall, what about the Philadelphia Flyers? They got a high pick. They've put Atkinson on waivers. They're going to buy him out. He actually vetoed a trade to San Jose. He didn't want to go there. And I understand. He's like, I don't need the money. If I'm going to sign as a free agent, I want to sign somewhere where I think I have a chance to win. He'll probably take, $1 million. Don't be surprised. Ryan Pike will join us. The Flames, they've been selling guys off, but also they don't want to go a complete rebuild, retool. We're hearing some rumblings. Teams are interested in Kadri, but they don't want to move him. So what are they going to do? Mangiapane, he had his one great year. And when he had his 35-goal season, what do we say in the show, Connor? Like, that's his outlier season. He's getting paid for that season. It was never going to live up to that contract. It's not his fault. It's just hard to do. Like, it was a perfect storm for him. It was an unreal year. He wasn't going to do it again. It's not happening. It's like somebody's going to pay Sam Reinhart as a 50-goal scorer. Do I think Sam Reinhart's going to score 57 goals again? 59 goals again? No, I don't. There's very few guys can score 55 back-to-back years. Never mind 59. Heck, never mind 50 in consecutive seasons. Unless your name's Draisaitl or Ovechkin. They're the only active guys who've done it back-to-back. It's hard. Or maybe Pasta. Pasta might have done it back-to-back. I got to look. Craig Button, Spec, Low Tide. Oh, also, for you on Monday, we will have, of course, trade deadline coverage right here on Sports 1440 starting at 10 a.m. So be sure for that. LT will be in, and we'll have appearances from Karras, myself, and others. So we'll get you on board. Of course, free agency officially begins at 10 a.m. on Monday. Now, I don't expect the Oilers to be big game hunting, but they got some guys they want to sign in Brown and Janmark and, Henrique. And they'll talk to Desharnais and Fogle. I think the latter two are going to test free agency. Why wouldn't you at this point? I get it. So we'll see. We get to all that and more on a busy edition of the Gregor Show. You can always text us 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our email inbox.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Hey, Elks fans!
Jackpot! Touchdown!
Get on the Elks party bus for every home game at On the Rocks for only $35.
Included is a game ticket, round-trip transportation, and a prepaid Coors Light.
Reserve your spot now at ontherocks.com.
And OTR is your go-to for every Euro Cup game.
With $5.25 Heineken.
Their first major trophy.
It's the ultimate football experience.
Canadian or European.
Only at On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
What's cracking at Cattail? Their men's league. Play 18 holes for 18 weeks on Tuesdays from 2 to 6 p.m. Then complete the day and head to Out of Bounds. Recently ranked one of Canada's top 10 in fine dining restaurants. For details, visit cattailcrossing.ca.
Hi, Jason Gregor for Volvo of Edmonton. This summer, lease the new 2024 Volvo XC60 with 0% finance, or save up to $6,500 on select models for qualifying loyal customers. Plus a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty with all demo vehicles. And if you're thinking hybrid, save $6,000 off all 2024 new and demo XC60 Recharge plug-in models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. 1205 101st Street Southwest, or visit volvocarsedmonton.com.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440. Every weekend, catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays, this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440. Edmonton's home for all things sports.
Rule number 62. Never miss a free pancake breakfast. It's unheard of and, frankly, a little upsetting. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding your needs, because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
The 100% Canadian beef McDonald's Western Barbecue Quarter Pounder is quite the mouthful. So who better to sell it in 30 seconds than a 100% Canadian auctioneer?
Oh!
Oh, mercy, it's back. 100% Canadian beef, topped with delicious smoky barbecue sauce and bacon. Who wants bacon? We got hickory smoked bacon strips, crispy onions. Who wants pickles? Not one down, but on 2 slices of processed cheddar cheese, served on a toasted sesame seed bun, and did so for a limited time at participating McDonald's restaurants in Western Canada.
When it comes to your heavy haul trailers, don't settle for a patch job that will fall apart after a hard day's work. Bring your unit to AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers. They'll solve the problem once and for all, keeping you working with limited interruptions. For 25 years, their experts have been providing highway and off-road custom trailers for mining, oil and gas construction, and renewable industries. They're your industry leader in engineered heavy haul trailer frame repairs, retrofits, rebuilds, and custom trailer fabrication. Learn more at accusteel.ca.
$2.27. Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Paul texts in, guys, who exactly gets the money from the sale of the Elks? Well, keep in mind, when the sale goes down, it won't be a sale where here they're going to pay you $15 million for the team. Because they're a community-owned team, what will happen is basically it's like a transaction for $1 or whatever the number is. And in the deal, there's a commitment from the new owner that, they incur any of the debts, although there's not a lot of debt, but that they guarantee us a future commitment to the team. That's how it's going to work. But there won't be an actual exchange of money because it's not a single ownership, right? So they're the and it's not technically a community-owned team by the CRA standards. I remember we had Rick Lawlisher on explain that to us. So, but that's where the money goes. So it's not like the city's going to get the money. That's not how it's going to work. So there you go. Let's get to our football report now. Brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home to no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer. LegacyHeating.ca. Dave Naylor from the CFL on TSN joins us. And Dave, I know I've heard that the deal is very close, pretty much all but done, finalized. They'll be announced here sometime, maybe as early in July, to see the new owner. And I'll be curious when the new owner takes over, because I know no changes can happen before then. But once the new owner takes over, I'll be very curious to see how patient he is when your current GM/coach has a record of 8-32 in the dual roles.
Yeah, I think that's something that's creeping into the picture here as the losses mount and get to 0-4. And in fact, we reported yesterday that if there is a decision to be made on Chris Jones in the next several weeks, that decision would actually involve the prospective owners or prospective owner if we're at that stage. And again, I think we might be close. A lot of these things are, I'd say there's rolling towards a completion here. And I know there's been various reports about an imminent announcement. Your suggestion that this will be announced in July is a little more aggressive than the timeline that I'm going off of. That was probably more of a late summer announcement. But regardless, I mean, if you were going to if the Elks get to 0-6 or 0-7 and the decision is going to be made, that's going to involve the prospective owner or prospective owners, because there's a financial payout involved in that, and the person who would be responsible for that, or the people responsible for that, would be the new owners. So, and look, if this was year one of the Elks, I think everybody would be really, or should be really happy. I mean, they blew a 10-point lead to Saskatchewan. That's not, blowing a 10-point lead is not a good thing, but it's not like you were, outclassed in the game. You lose by a field goal to the defending Grey Cup champs. You lose to a field goal by a team that went 16-2 last year, and you lose by a field goal on the road at BC to a team that a lot of people see as a Grey Cup favorite. So, I don't think it's been a horror show during the first 4 weeks of the season. If Milt Stiegel were with us, he would say, don't tell me about quality losses and near misses. There's only, Milt's a binary guy, W's and L's. That's it. I'm not a binary guy.
Wow.
I do see value in coming close and building your team through those kinds of things. But, so I think that's the other question that I think probably has to be addressed in Edmonton for a new owner is they got to fill the stands. And, your head coach GM should never be, based on popularity. But, I think the first item at hand, besides winning some football games is trying to get people feeling better about the football club. And I don't know that Chris Jones, is the most popular guy given the record that they've come up right now. So, lots to be determined. And, but no question, everything I understand is that we are going to see a transition in ownership from, as you said, the long-held community ownership into private hands. I would expect before Labor Day.
See, here's the thing, though, Dave. You want fans in the stands, win a game. And, we can talk about being close, but like last night, Bethel Thompson missed 2 passes that he should make in his sleep that I argue cost him the game. The one to Cobb early in the third quarter, that has to be completed. Yeah. And then 2 plays later, it's an interception. I don't even get a field goal out of it. And then with 2:20 left, he's got Mitchell down the seam like a veteran quarterback. And the frustration for Elks fans is you started 0-8 last year, got shut out twice, and finally you went to Trey Ford. And all he did was instill excitement to the fan base. They won some games, and then they bring in the veteran. And we can talk, he's a veteran leader, and he's a great guy, don't get me wrong. But he's not winning. He's not winning. And at the end of the day, they need wins.
I would agree with you if we were talking about golf, or if we were talking about tennis, or we were talking about marathoning. But we're talking about football. I mean, they put up 36 points at Toronto. I don't care what league we're talking about. If you're a quarterback and you engineer 4 touchdown passes and 36 points, that loss is not on you. That loss is on the defense. And look, I get the Trey Ford thing, but I'm going to challenge this a little bit, okay? If we had a Canadian who was throwing for 300 to 400 passes yards a week, and throwing the ball the way McLeod Bethel Thompson is, and we had a guy from Louisiana who could run around and do some things athletically behind him, nobody would be screaming for the guy from Louisiana. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be proud about Canadian accomplishments, but I think where there is so much of the Trey Ford argument, I think, comes down to the fact we've got a Canadian quarterback that people want to see. And this is kind of goes back to and again, I never heard him say this, so I want to be careful that I am led to believe and told many times that he used to say this, that Ron Lancaster didn't want a Canadian quarterback on the roster because as soon as you put him on, people would scream that he should be playing. And, I think Chris Jones knew that was going to happen when he signed McLeod Bethel Thompson, but Chris also knew that he was in jeopardy of losing his job. He's got to win games. So look, I like Trey Ford a lot. I think he's got tremendous potential, but I think his variance as a quarterback is still high. And by that, I mean, he can make plays that nobody else in the league can make. I 100% agree with that. The question is, can he make them, the other plays, the plays you need to make just the staples of your offense consistently enough over 60 minutes, to win games? He's not going to put up more than 36 points. I guarantee you that. So I'm not part of the movement, to get McLeod Bethel Thompson benched and Trey Ford playing.
Yeah. Well, I just look at, you got Trey Ford here. You've got a new rule that you can have 2 quarterbacks in the game. And to me, there's no creativity, Dave. And for whatever reason, you got a veteran quarterback, you've got an experienced OC, and they can't get plays in. Like how many time count, like they took a terrible time count violation that obviously cost them one. Then they had to call timeouts other times. Like it just, last game was their defense. This game, it was their offense. I'm not saying Bethel Thompson's the reason for their own 4, but he was the reason yesterday. I thought he was the main reason they needed better play from their quarterback. But Chris Jones is still the architect of it all. and their team continually takes undisciplined penalties at key times in games, right? They don't execute right at key times in games. To me, that has to fall on your coach.
Yeah, I mean, getting a face mask penalty to improve the field position for the game-winning field goal was just, Elks, right? Like that's kind of their signature moment during this, this era. And I agree with you on the play to Gavin Cobb. And you saw, I'm sure, on the highlights where McLeod Bethel-Thompson went over to the sideline, looked at the tablet, and fired it to the ground and walked off when he saw, what he'd missed as opposed to what he'd done, or what he could have done. So no, look, I'm not trying to make excuses for them on an overall basis, because look, the point is, I'm saying year over year is that a year ago they weren't close. They were disastrous. They couldn't score points at all. This year they're losing games by nips and tucks. So yeah, here's the problem though. We're not in year 1 of the rebuild. We're in year 3 of Chris Jones. And if you go back to what happened before Chris Jones, you're in year 4 or 5 of lousy football. And that's why, the arguments that I'm making about where the Elks are and how close they are falling on deaf ears, because it's not year number 1. And let's be honest, unless there's a great turnaround, Chris Jones isn't going to be around next year to see this thing through, to build upon this.
No. And frankly, he shouldn't. He hasn't really shown much progress, in my opinion. Like, getting close they're not playing horseshoes, unfortunately. So close only.
Well, the other thing about it, and this is, in terms of criticism of Chris Jones, is the one thing I don't understand is that Chris Jones is a defensive guy, right? And if you look at everywhere he's been, he's identified and used, tremendous defensive players, usually very athletic players, guys that are playmakers. And during that first season, where he basically seemed to hold training camp through the entire year. I mean, the cycle of players through the roster was, kind of mind-boggling. But I also got it a bit because, in the CFL, it's a short training camp. You're building the thing from the ground up. You're basically auditioning all year and saying, hey, look, we're not going to win the Grey Cup, but we want to come out of this season with the core of our team that we can build upon. And the thing that amazes me kind of watching the Elks right now on defense is the number of players, who are new, in year number 3. And those are kind of the guys that I think you would have wanted to be identifying back in year number 1. And they have some of those guys on offense. I mean, Dylan Mitchell is one, Kevin Brown is one, but I think just overall the roster, there aren't enough of guys that they should have found 2 years ago and who should be, their mainstays and potential stars of the league today.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Dave Naylor joins us. So now the Elks have a bye week. It comes at the perfect time, probably. They'll lick their wins. I think got Ottawa. I guess the advantage for them is, there's 2 other teams that are 0-3 in Winnipeg and Hamilton, although some would think that maybe they're going to turn it around. You look at, the Lions, Montreal's undefeated, Toronto's undefeated. Is there one, like, BC didn't look that dominant yesterday against Edmonton, to be honest. So is there a team that you feel is that good right now, or is there no clear-cut dominant team in the CFL?
It's Montreal. And look, I was dismissive of Montreal in the playoffs last year. When I say dismissive, I picked against them in the Eastern Semi, the Eastern Final, and the Grey Cup. So I guess I was dismissive of them in terms of what I thought they could do. But I tell you, you look at the football that Cody Fajardo is playing right now, they're on an 11-game win streak right now that dates back to mid-September. His numbers right now over that 11-game win streak compare favorably to the 2019 season when he was the West Division most outstanding player. I was thinking about this watching Vernon Adams last night. I think is, again, playing very, very good football. But Vernon Adams was essentially, put on the trade block in Montreal. Cody Fajardo was sent to the curb in Saskatchewan. And I would argue right now, those are the 2 best quarterbacks in the league. So it just shows you, sometimes, circumstances have more to do with the player itself. On Cody, and I had a great conversation with Cody this week. And one of the big knocks on him has been he can't throw the deep ball. He can't hit the receivers downfield. He underthrows guys. It leads to interceptions and incompletions. Well, you know what quarterback in the league right now leads the CFL in the most pass plays over 30 yards? It's Cody Fajardo. I mean, last week he had 3 completions of over 40 yards. So I kind of, when I was talking to him this week, I'm like, what's up with the deep ball? Like, this is not your signature. What's happening? And he told me a really interesting story. He said, he watched tape and he saw that he was leaving plays on the field because there were throws that he didn't feel he could make. They were going to get picked or be underthrown. And then he went back and he watched this offseason. I mean, along with changing his training to try to put a little more zip on the ball, he went back and he watched tape of vintage Russell Wilson, when Russell Wilson was, among the best deep ball throwers in the NFL. And Russell Wilson's not a guy with a huge arm. And what he noticed was that Russell Wilson got the ball out early, and he put lots of air under it so that his receivers could run under it. And he kind of tweaked that for his own purpose. And if you look at the way he's playing right now, it's very much reflective of that. And that's what he attributes this change to. And, getting the ball out early, of course, also means you don't get sacked as often. First 3 games of the year last year, Cody Fajardo took 14 sacks. He's taken 4 in 3 games this year. So he's gone from a guy who takes way too many sacks and can't complete the deep ball to a guy who's taken very few sacks and is essentially the leading deep ball passer, along with Vernon Adams, I would say. Certainly, you could, depending on how you want to break down the stats, you can make an argument for Vernon Adams as well. But I think when you combine, the receivers that they have on that team, particularly the Canadians, Keon Julian Grant and Tyson Philpott, with the way Cody Fajardo's playing, with the way that defense plays, the way they can shut down the run and force teams to throw it, I think Montreal is really the class of the league right now.
Dave Naylor from CFL on TSN joins us. Now, Dave, are they having is there going to be another draft here for one player? Did I read that right? Yeah, there is. And I got to be honest, this is not a story I've been on top of, but this does happen where a player who missed, I cannot remember a supplemental draft ever happening during the season. Yeah, I'm sure that's what I thought. I'm trying to remember that. Okay. Well, there have been supplemental drafts, yes, over the years, right? Where, I'm trying to think of a guy, Jamin Pelly on Edmonton, I believe was a supplemental draft player. Ted Laurent, who, just retired this past offseason, was a Ticat for, a decade plus. He was a supplemental draft player. Guys that don't get their eligibility in for the draft. I cannot remember one ever in the middle of the season. So, yeah, this one is a bit of a curiosity to me as well. Okay. Yeah, I just never heard one during the season. It seems a little odd to me. So no, me neither. Awesome. And I've seen it all. Yeah. Dave, well, we appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of the games this weekend. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it. There you go. That's Dave Naylor from CFL on TSN. A lot of tech. You know what I like? Hey, people always say, oh, no one cares about the Elks. Wrong. Text line, Twitter comments, there's tons. There's lots of people that are frustrated, as you should be. And we can talk about all the building up a team that gets better. And maybe if they win one, they'll figure out how to win. It's very possible. But until they do, I don't think it matters. You need to win games. People aren't, they're close. Some might say that. But last night, they blew a chance to win when their quarterback needed to be better. He was great. We talked about how good he was the previous week. But then you can't, if he's a rookie or a second-year quarterback, then you would expect the peaks and valleys. But you can't have your veteran quarterback. That's why you sign a veteran. So he doesn't miss those throws. Because those are game-changing throws. If he completes that pass to Cobb, they might win the game. Because that's 7 points extra they have right there. Because that was a touchdown. Right? 2 plays later, threw an interception. That's a TD all day long. And the Mitchell play in the fourth quarter, 2 minutes to go, I don't know if it would have been a touchdown. I don't think so, based on the angle of the inside BC defender. But it gets them really deep into BC territory, and who knows what happens there. So at bare minimum, they take more time off the clock. That's a fact. Right? So then BC has less time, even if Edmonton only kicked a shorter field goal rather than the big BB bomb. Now, I know they missed a field goal in another game. I get all that stuff. But excuses are for losers. That's just the truth. Well, yeah, but this happened. Yeah, it happened. The other team didn't force you to do it. You did it. So force them to make the mistakes. 2:40. We'll come back. 2-minute warning with Cam Tate. We got Sean Brown coming up. Lots on the draft trades in the NHL today. Quite a few. We'll get to more of those and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The 100% Canadian beef McDonald's Western Barbecue Quarter Pounder is quite the mouthful. So who better to sell it in 30 seconds than a 100% Canadian auctioneer?
Oh, mercy, it's back. 100% Canadian beef, topped with delicious smoky barbecue sauce and bacon. Who wants bacon? We got hickory smoked bacon strips, crispy onions. Who wants pickles? Not one down, but on 2 slices of processed cheddar cheese, served on a toasted sesame seed bun, and it's sold for a limited time at participating McDonald's restaurants in Western Canada.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing.
You're listening to NHL free agency coverage on Sports 1440 with Alan Mitchell. Call or text 1-833-401-1440.
action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
A premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development is proud to be entering its 8th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase style, regular season gameplay, and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for those seeking family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes born between 2011 and 2016. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
Boxing Week pricing is back at the Brick, and that means amazing end-of-the-year sales during summertime. Save up to 40% off mattresses and up to $700 off sectionals. Also, take up to 25% off dining and bedroom packages. Plus, from June 28th to July 1st, find specialty Boxing Weekend deals, like mattresses starting at just $149.99. Make your dream home a reality with brand name items on a budget. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Hey, Eddie Steele here. If you know me, you know I'm motivated. And what motivates me? Winning? Been there, done that. What motivates me is the smell of fresh baked goodness, the kind you find at Bonton Bakery. As soon as you walk into Bonton, you're greeted with a big smile, a warm welcome, and the aroma. So good. The showcase of their baked goods always means trouble for me, not just because of the selection, but the excellent fresh ingredients. That's Bonton Bakery, 8720 149th Street, open 9 to 5, Tuesday to Saturday.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Debt. Most of us have it, but it's the last thing we want to talk about. When we're struggling, we need someone to talk to. We want to be heard without judgment. My name is Parveen Middleton, and I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I talk with people about debt every day. I can help you find the solution to fit your situation. Talking about it is the first step to relief. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
Does your bank do local? We do. When you bank with Vision Credit Union, you're banking with a rural Albertan cooperative that cares about the community where you live. There's no question. We actively support our rural communities at the local level through charitable donations, volunteerism, local team and event sponsorships, and by returning millions in profit shares to our members every year. Does your bank do that? We do local. Bank with Vision Credit Union. VisionCU.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions take one for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman. Are you ready, guys?
We were born ready. Heck yes, Nuge. Drop the beat. Legacy. We freaking killed it, Nuge. That's what I'm talking about, Zachary Martin Hyman.
Nice guys. We're going to sell a lot of air conditioners.
Hey, doesn't Legacy offer no payments and no interest for a year on those?
Yeah. Well, thanks for the assist on the copy points there, Nuge.
It's just what I do.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
$2.49. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And hey, get in the game at PlayAlberta.ca. Lotto Max tonight. Ooh, $28 million. Nice. Good luck. Also, You got all the games you want to get on. There's no draft odds, but if you want to go for next season, do you think the Oilers are going to win the Cup? If you feel they are going to repeat what the Florida Panthers did, who went from losing in the Cup to winning, which is difficult because it's hard to get back 2 years. But the Oilers right now, they have the best odds, just slightly ahead of Florida to win the Cup. Edmonton goes, then Florida, then Dallas, Carolina, followed by Colorado. Then there's a little bit of a drop to New Jersey, of all teams. The Rangers, Vegas, Toronto, Vancouver. Then it gets a little bit longer in Boston, 22-1, LA, 23, Jets, 23. So obviously the longest of shots, the San Jose Sharks, by a significant margin. So yeah, I don't think anybody's picking them. Why would you? What's interesting is they have the Oilers' best odds to win the Cup, but they have Dallas with the best odds to win the Western Conference in the regular season. Interesting. So there you go. Get it all at play, Alberta. Let's see. We got a lot of text coming in. Hey, guys, I have to disagree with your past guest. Honestly, Trey Ford being Canadian doesn't even cross my mind. From Doug. I would agree, Doug. Honestly, like when I think Trey Ford, it's like that was a good story at the start. It was okay, nice. But now I'm like, no. Trey Ford found ways to win games. Was he perfect? No. But they won some games. Isn't that the goal? You play to win the game. Who said that goal? I can't remember who said it. One of the NFL coaches, was it? I think. I don't even know.
Herm Edwards.
Herm Edwards, yeah. So there you go. Like, I don't care if there's still some areas he has to improve. And I don't disagree that he does need to improve. And I think it's beneficial to have a veteran, but you're 0-4. And it's not all on him, not at all. I thought Bethel Thompson was fine in the Toronto games. I thought he could have been better in week 1. And definitely could have been better yesterday. So at bare minimum, why can't you at least incorporate Trey Ford with the new rules into the offense? That's the part that's mind-blowing to me. Trey Ford might be the best athlete on your team. Why don't you put athletes on the field? Gizmo Williams. They had to change the rules to make it so there was a designated kick return position because he was that good and he was that exciting for the game. The Elks have an exciting player. Put him on the field. Put him on the field. I don't care in what regard. And don't, he doesn't want to be a running back. I'm not saying he's a running back. You can line up 2 quarterbacks. He can throw on the run. He can run sometimes because guess what? When he's a quarterback, he still runs. Just have some plays. Like, what's the worst that can happen? They're going to lose again? Oh, geez. Shocking. So, yeah. To me, it's odd thinking, man. Odd thinking. So, you got to find a way to incorporate him. That's all I know. If you want to start Bethel Thompson, fine. I can see some reasonings behind that. But my goodness. It can't just be, well, you know what? I'm stuck in my ways, like you were stuck in your ways for 8-9 games last year till they finally got rid of the OC. And I like Jarius Jackson as an OC. I think he's quite good. But I disagree with the fact that Trey Ford has done nothing through 4 games. Hasn't been given much of an opportunity. And what about Geno Lewis? What the hell's going on? So get him involved. It's fun, though. I like people getting fired up about the Elks. It's good. Hey, guys, they lost last night on penalties. The defense looked better, and MBT is second best in passing yards. They could be 3-1 right now. No one's ever properly explained what the hell community-owned means. Who actually owns them? Where does the money from the new owner go to? From Richard. Well, Richard, it's the money will go basically, there's going to be no actual money transferred, right? Any debt or whatever, that goes to the new owner. And then they'll put the money into a contingency fund that's only supposed to be used for the team. Basically, they're like, okay, we signed this. Here's a commitment that blank $20 million. I don't know the exact number, but that's what it's going to be. Maybe not that high, maybe 15. Right? Maybe 12. That might be the number of $1 million that you're committing that you're going to use moving forward. Because right now, the team's probably losing around $2 million a year. That's what I was told. So You got to commit to that. And then you feel, okay, how can we turn it around? Because I strongly believe there is a major audience that will go to games. I don't care about trolls on Twitter. That's not real life. If you run your business because of what some no-name person says on social media, your business is not going to be successful. That's just a fact. Right? I know there's lots of change the name. They could change the name back. Guess what? That has nothing to do. They could be called the Eskimos right now. They'd still be 0-4. Okay? It'd still be 0-4. And how many people would be like, honestly, how many people is it 1,000 who are like, I'm not going because they changed their name? Because I know there's some, and that's fine. They're entitled to their opinion. How many? 1,000? Like really, that are that staunchly opposed to the name? So that extra 1,000 fans is going to make or break it? It's not. Okay, I'm telling you, it's not. Okay? No small group is that important. They're just not. Right? There's some people that don't like it. I didn't think it was necessary. I said that many times. Why wasn't it necessary? Because there was lots of Inuits who said they love the name Eskimos. That's what I never understood. Right? It was a little bit of the knee-jerk reaction, which happens way too often in society. Oh, someone's offended. So, well, let's change everything to appease to them. Right? As much as I love Canada, if I get on a rant here, it's probably the one thing I don't love about Canada is we rarely stand up for what's ours. Okay, like what do we stand for? I'm not too sure right now. Right? I'm not too sure. Right? Because on one hand, they'll say, hey, we want women's equality, which I'm all for. I think it's fantastic. Right? I grew up with a very strong mother. Right? She worked in a very patriarchal job for many years. Had lots of conversations, listened to what she had to endure. So trust me, it sucked for that generation. It's infinitely better today. Right? How many jobs can women not do today? It's great. However, we say that as a country, but then we let some people in who's in their society and in their culture, women are second-class citizens. So how can it be both? I don't get that. I don't get it. Right? We say that we want equality in Canada, but then we're going to allow people to come in here who treat women as second-class citizens. I don't get it. How can it be both? You can't. So that's just one example. But you look at it, did I think it was a knee-jerk reaction? Yes. But I'm not naive enough to think if they were still called the Eskimos, that they suddenly would be winning more games. Okay? They wouldn't be. It's not like Chris Jones is going to recruit better because their team, I'm not going to play for the Elks, but I'll come and play for the Eskimos. Of course not. Is the quarterback going to make more throws? Is the team going to be more disciplined? No, it's not. So it's you could be upset about it, but don't confuse the two. Don't confuse that, well, if they change the name, thousands and thousands and thousands of people are going to flood back. Because I don't believe that. I'll believe a few things. The new owner will need to make a commitment to the community. Number one. Right? I think they're going to have to hire a GM who is not the coach. And it's nothing against Chris Jones. You can't do both jobs successfully. The record doesn't lie. In Edmonton, he is 8-32. In Saskatchewan, it was better, but not a lot. Right? It's hard to do both jobs. Virtually impossible in today's day and age. There's not enough hours in the day. There's a lot that goes into being a GM of a football team and then being the head coach and then still wanting to be heavily involved in the defense. There's no time. You can't do it all. It's impossible. So that's probably going to have to be the first thing the owner does. Because the way the season's going, I don't see how it's going to turn around anytime soon. I don't. But I strongly believe that there is still a strong contingent of people that with proper ownership, get rid of the board that has not helped at all. I'm sorry. Tell me how the board has helped this organization the last 7 or 8 years. What moves, what decisions have they made? Like, look at some of the presidents they hired. Unmitigated disasters. Like, beyond bad. The board hired them. No one else. So that's 2 pretty big fails. Preston, Victor Cui, horrific. Horrific. So you start there. So whoever the new owner is going to be, sounds like it's a single ownership. You're going to have a good GM and a good president. And you start there because good leadership funnels down. I'll look at Ken Holland in the Edmonton Oilers. Compare Ken Holland to Peter Chiarelli. Now, Peter Chiarelli had 4 years of McDavid, granted, his early years, and he wasn't as complete of a player. I'll totally admit to that, but he's still pretty good. Look at the moves they made. Like, just look at the gaffes from his first year and a half on the job. Reinhart trade, puke in my mouth pad. Jordan Eberle trade. And then actually the Ryan Strome trade was worse than the Jordan Eberle trade. The Hall decision, because you could have had Hall and Demers, and I like Larson, but then you don't have Lucic, and it would have been better. That's a fact. Right? And how he treated people in his organization compared to Ken Holland. So did Ken Holland make some mistakes? Yes, because every GM makes mistakes. Every parent makes mistakes. Every media person makes mistakes. Every doctor, everybody. I don't know anybody out there who doesn't make mistakes. Right? Ken Holland made some mistakes, but he made way more good decisions than bad. He took a team that had made the playoffs once in 13 years. Only once in 4 years with McDavid, made the playoffs every year. They played the third most playoff games the last 3 years. They lost in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final this year and had a really good team. So you get good leadership, things can change. Look at the Elks. Look at when Danny Machocha took over, started going into the ditch. Eric Tillman came in, not much better. Ed Hervey took over. Go look at the Elks record under Hervey. Now, was Ed perfect? Was he a little prickly at times? Yes. He's admitted on our show. There's some things he would have done different. More so in how he communicated with people, 100%. But their organization was still way more stable. Since he's left, hire fire. Good leadership matters. So it's free advice for the new owner. Pay attention to your organization for the last 20 years, and you will see what's the focus. When they had good leadership, when Ed Hervey was here and he would keep the reins on Chris Jones and say, you coach, I'll bring in the players. There was way too many fans who erroneously claimed that Chris Jones was this master recruiter of the players when it was actually Ed Hervey, and that's been proven now. Right? That's fine. He's a really good coach, a great defensive coach. But make no mistake, they won that Grey Cup because of the recruiting of players from Ed Hervey getting Mike Riley. They had a terrible offensive coordinator, and they still won. So even then, you can still win, even with some bad decisions. That's what's been proven. So when I look at the Elks, that's what has to happen. And it won't be an easy fix. Ed Hervey, they didn't win their first year. Right? Ken Holland didn't win, like they made the playoffs. Right? And there was COVID, so that's a wild card, but still, they didn't win. They didn't go deep right away. You can't just snap your fingers and turn it around. But they got to get it on the right path. Is there anyone that thinks the Elks are seriously that much better ahead now than they were last year? They have the exact same record of 0-4. And I really don't care that they're winning tight games. They're still losing games by undisciplined penalties, key mistakes at key times. Become their MO. So they know how to lose right now. They don't know how to win. Let's get to the Conman Sports 1440 update. When we come back, Sean Brown will join us. There's lots of wheeling and dealing. The draft is a few hours away for the NHL. Oiler fans, don't worry. You're not missing anything for your team because they don't have a first-round selection today. They have the 64th pick, the second last pick of the second round. There's actually one extra pick in the second round. Philly gets a compensatory pick, number 51. So that actually bumps the Oilers back because they should have had the 63rd pick. So now it's 64. And they're not going to be using that to move up into the first round. So it'll be a quiet day unless there's contract signings with Connor Halley. We'll get to right now a Sports 40 update brought to you by Booster Juice and the Booster Mixers. 5 vibrant flavors for some great summer sippers. Download the Booster Reward app and order yours today only at Booster Juice.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Hours away from the NHL Draft in Las Vegas. It all gets going at 5. We've got a trade. The Montreal Canadiens acquiring the 21st overall pick from the LA Kings for the 26th pick, as well as picks number 57 and 198. The Tampa Bay Lightning and defenseman Victor Hedman closing in on a contract extension. Hedman, 33, entering the final year of his 8-year contract worth $63 million. The plan is for the Lightning to announce the extension in the next couple of days. Philadelphia Flyers have bought out Ford Cam Atkinson ahead of the first day of the draft. Atkinson, 35, had 1 year remaining on his 7-year, $41 million deal. He would have been a cap hit of 5.875. In the association, the Raptors and guard Emmanuel quickly looking to agree to terms on a 5-year deal worth $175 million. And it looks like Andrew Wiggins will not be a part of Canada's senior men's Olympic basketball team this summer. According to Doug Smith of the Toronto Star, the Golden State Warriors are playing hardball with Wiggins while looking to trade him, preventing him from representing his country in Paris. Canada basketball opens up camp for the senior men's team Friday night in Toronto. Major League Baseball today, you got the Blue Jays in action hosting the Yankees. First pitch set for 5:07. Teams meet tomorrow at 1:07 and 11:37 a.m. You can hear both those games right here on Sports 1440. The Edmonton Riverhawks in action once again tomorrow night. They'll take on Port Angeles down at Remax Field. First pitch set for just after 7. Copa America at 4. You got Colombia taking on Costa Rica. Then at 7 o'clock tonight, Brazil and Paraguay meeting in Las Vegas. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by our co-host and former NHLer Sean Brown, as well as Flyers beat reporter Jordan Hall. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
With Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
My utility bills are going through the roof. How can I take advantage of the sun and put my lazy roof to work?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Energy team reporting. When you're ready to make your home or business more efficient, Action Electrical has the power to install solar panel systems and EV chargers.
Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta with supercharged skills and strong family values. ActionElectrical.net.
Hey, Edmonton sports fans, my name is Jonas Knox. I host 2 Pros and a Cup of Joe for Fox Sports weekday mornings from 4 to 7. Brady Quinn and LeVar Arrington join me, and hopefully you will too, right here on Sports 1440.
Rule number 41, never challenge a goose in the Bow Valley. They run this town and they know it. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Edmonton, ready to power up your projects with unbeatable strength and efficiency? Step into Edmonton Kubota, where our massive inventory meets all your needs. From rugged tractors and loaders to nimble mowers and utility vehicles, we've got the machines that work as hard as you do. And guess what? This month, we're rolling out exclusive deals that'll make your heart race faster than our engines. Drive down to Edmonton Kubota or visit EdmontonKubota.com to discover how we can boost your efficiency, productivity, and fun. Edmonton Kubota, powering your passion with every turn of the key.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Andy Akel at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
For over 65 years, Denham Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And that tradition continues with the all-new 2024 F-150. Lease one today with $1,000 down and pay just $299 bi-weekly, taxes included. That's the value you've come to expect from where cars always cost less. The F-150 $299 driveway lease, only at Denham Ford in Wetaskiwin or at denhamford.ca.
Diablo Boots has been open for business for 60 years, selling Canadian-made quality boots.
Here we go.
Diablo has Canada West work, biker, and cowboy boots with fixable soles and heels.
Gotta be a classic.
So why buy
Here we go.
boots like Ariat, Justin, or Red Wing that are made in China? Get
Wager.
your money's worth with Diablo's Canada West tough, comfortable work boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. And does Diablo sell the best boots in town?
3:10. Welcome back. Now it is Positive Friday, I know, and hey, I'm positively passionate about the Elks. Okay, right? I think the team matters. It does, and so demanding more isn't a bad thing. Trust me, we spent a decade doing that for the Oilers. Hopefully for the Elks, it won't take that long. I don't think they can afford a decade of darkness, although it's kind of closing in. It's been like 5 years of, right? So hopefully it's not 5 more. So we'll see. It is the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And man, there is lots going on right now. Holy cow, we're a few hours away from the NHL Draft. There's already been some trades. The LA Kings clearly wanted to move up. They didn't even wait till the draft starts. This is still a little odd to me. We saw it yesterday in Buffalo and San Jose. They swapped spots and from 11 to 14, and then Buffalo drops down 3 spots, and they get a number 42. So San Jose has the first and the 11th pick, and I think they make that trade because they want to get in for a defenseman after taking Celebrini. At least that's what I think. I could be wrong. We'll see. The Kings, if you missed it, they were drafting 26. They traded up to 21 with Montreal. So Montreal gets the 26th pick and the 57th pick, and then they get the 198th pick. So a first, a second, and a 6th. Now, keep in mind that the second half of the second round is a lot different than the first half of the second round. It's like hey, we gave up a first rounder. Yeah, like the Oilers gave up the 31st pick. It's different than giving up a top 10 pick, right? Not all first rounders are created the same. So always remember that. It's kind of, we should almost be like, hey, top 10 pick, top 20 pick, top 30, right? It's a little bit different. We welcome in a guy who was a top 20 pick, 19th overall. In fact, by the Boston Bruins, drafted more so at the time because of his hair. At least that's what the rumor was. Sean Brown joins us in studio. Brownie, how you doing?
Awesome. What a beautiful day. Drafted 21st. Overall.
Was it 21st? I thought you were 19th.
No, 21st.
Let's look that up.
Yeah. I think I would know. I hope I know.
You and Kevin Lowe are the same number. All right. I was trying to, sorry, I'm giving you props. You were higher.
Yeah.
Who did I think was 19? Definitely not Strud. So I don't know who I got mixed up with. We know what his number. Oh, so you were essentially, I'm pretty sure Struddy was 63. Now let me look it up, which you could say to him, well, you're 3 times better. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was 63. Let me look that
He
up.
did play more games than I did play. So,
yeah.
I mean, it is nice to go, but you know.
Yeah, he was 63rd.
Was he 63rd?
Yeah, well, your draft year, you're 3 times better than him. That's what you can say. Who scored more? Oh, you scored 1 more goal than him too in the NHL in fewer games. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there you go. If you throw in your European numbers, then you really outshot him offensively. So,
okay. Yeah.
So we'll see. Now, I know you've talked about your draft story before, so we're not going to revisit that one at all. But the draft now, even for when you got drafted, which was, coming up on almost 30 years ago, crazy, right? Like 1995. It's changed a lot as far as maybe the pomp and the circumstance, but I'm not sure, it's changed that much as far as, how teams and everybody approach it. The first round is important. And for players, like, what was the best advice you got after you were drafted?
Ooh, that's a tough one. The best advice after getting drafted. You know what? I think it was just the start. I mean, it was, talking to veteran guys. It was just, making sure it's the start of something special for you, right? I mean, it's one thing to get drafted, and I guess and one of the big things for me was there always was a little bit of a fear factor of, never wanting to get complacent or just settle in and be like, hey, I got drafted. It was like, okay, that's one box ticked off, and now, what's the next box, and what do I got to start working towards to give myself the best chance to actually play for that team, right? Because I did play, major, junior, and you watch guys, and you watch their different careers, and I have seen guys that got drafted and they did come a little complacent, right? They thought the work was over, and you're only drafted on what potential, your potential and where they think you could be. So, I was always uneasy. Never, for my career, I don't think I ever really relaxed and really enjoyed it, to be honest with you, until it was actually over. And then you can kind of sit back and kind of reflect. I was just so worried that I wasn't going to fulfill what, I started and where I wanted to go. I was so motivated by, trying to get to the next level, trying to get to the next day, trying to make myself better, just knowing how competitive it is, right? I mean, I do remember, my draft day and going, and then, seeing all these players in one. I was actually drafted here in Edmonton.
Yeah.
And when you get to the rink and you actually see all the players, right, from Canada, the US, Europeans, it's quite amazing with all the players that are playing, that I was in a situation that I was, gonna get drafted. That was kind of, where you sat back, you're just looking at these guys, and it was a little intimidating, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know what they're looking at and thinking of me. I know what I'm looking at, thinking of them. And there's some big guys, at when we were young. So yeah, it's quite impressive where, you look at these kids now that are getting drafted and how young they are and how old they look and how mature and how well-spoken they are and how they carry themselves. Today's athlete now is, better prepared, I think, in all areas. So yeah, it's it's an exciting day for these kids and brings back a lot of good memories.
Yeah. And I said LA moved up. It was Montreal that moved up, and LA moved back. So my bad on that. I was still fired up from the rant, but yes, it's Montreal that Kent Hughes, who moved up the 5 spots to give up a second. And LA Kings are a team, they have lots of young players, and I guess they feel, hey, we trust our scouts, so move down 5 spots to get another second rounder and then a late pick, which obviously has low percentage of hitting, but you never know. Some of them hit. If you want to see how difficult it is to draft a player after the 150th pick and have them become an NHLer, you can go Rick Tracy. I wrote an article about Rick. He had we had Rick on the show, and then we transcribed the article for anybody who missed it. Go to OilersNation.com today. He broke down really good job, I think, and very transparent on what his approach is to scouting. He's really big on the environment a player plays in, which I think is great, because some 17-year-olds, you're on a good team, Brownie, and maybe you're playing with some skilled players, right? Some skilled 19-year-olds. And all of a sudden you get 35 goals. And you're like, oh, and so obviously you have to have the skill to play with them. But then there's another guy over here who's only got 20 goals, but he's kind of like, he's the guy who's the leader of their team because they're in a rebuild. So he talked about environment and who you play with and who you're on the power play with. So you can't just always straight up look at numbers, which I think is valid. I still think there's at times they'll be like, well, you know what? A 6'2" guy still gets an extra long look. And I think that matters more on defense. I'll be honest. Like if you're a smaller defenseman, you got to be elite skilled. Oh yeah. Right. Yeah. But, forwards, not as much. We see Braden Points, and, you can see some smaller guys around the league. Mitch Marner's not very big, Jack Hughes, go through the list. If you're a smaller skill guy up front, it's not as damaging at times. Like obviously you can have Quinn Hughes and other guys who are elite defenders, but I still will be curious to go deep in the playoffs with smaller defensemen. Like that is the one position, it seems, that if you just look at the trend in the NHL, big guys who can skate and are mobile and make plays, they're just better overall than guys who are 5'10" and 11.
Yeah. We all have friends that are involved in the sport, and I love talking to them about it. And nobody's really right or wrong on their opinions on what they think, but the conversations are really interesting. But there's one thing that the common theme that I hear amongst my friends is that, and we see it in the playoffs, is compete, right? It's so competitive out there. You have to be so competitive to play at those levels. You have to be so competitive to stay at those levels and to compete in the to compete in the playoffs and for a Stanley Cup. And you can see the amount of how much you have to fight for every inch on the ice and what you have to put your body through. If you don't tick off that top box of high compete, I don't know if you really stand a chance. And I think that would be, something interesting to talk to a scout and, how do they measure that?
Yeah.
Right. How, because hockey's it's a different sport because it costs a lot of money, and it's not it's, I always thought it was interesting, hearing different kids and the adversity and challenges that they face when they play. Scouts want to know that, right? When they're playing this game of hockey, but it is a tough sport to gauge that, because a lot of the kids that are playing it, I think families do very well. It's not your typical basketball, football scenario type of kid. It's a totally different upbringing.
Yeah,
would you not say?
I think that's a valid point. There obviously are some, like there's some kid like Ryan Nugent Hopkins, right? Like he had to take hockey off at 15 for a year, so because they couldn't afford it. So there are some, but you're right. I think for the most part, that can be an advantage. Now, not always, because I know there's tons of places where, you get kids in and other people quietly will pay for the registration and different things like that, who are single dads or single moms or, different things like that. So that does help. But you're right overall.
I think it's becoming harder and harder.
Oh, well, it's becoming harder and harder because there's in the United States, especially, I've talked to one of my buddies moved to the US and he was like, this is ridiculous. Like what they're paying at a young, 9 or 10 year olds. And I'm like, they're paying $30,000 to play hockey. And I'm like, pardon? Well, so then get a scholarship. I'm like, do the math. How much do you think a scholarship costs you? Right? Like, what do you think a year of school costs you? So you're going to, from the age of 9, pay $30,000 a year for the hope that they can do it? Well, you're going to save what? You're not saving any money.
Yeah, you pay for it earlier.
So it's, that's kind of, but you're right. I think that's a fair point. I do want to get to this text. It's about the Elks. Hey guys, I've been a fan since the Ron Este jersey as a kid. The name change bothered me, but I'm over it. It was more the way the team spoke to long-term fans and how I was treated when I called to share my concerns about it and ticket prices I had for 23 years. Their attitude was I needed the tickets more than they needed me. I've been to a game here and there over the last couple of years, but I won't get season seats again unless their wholesale changes. They're a very poor run organization, top to bottom. Thanks, Doug. Doug, you are bang on. When Ian Murray, the former chair of the board, came out with his absolutely ignorant statement claiming how, our fans are old and white. It's essentially what he said. And you're like, pardon? Now, if you want to say, hey, we want to attract, we love our loyal fans, we want to attract new fans, no one would be offended because that's the truth. But to insult your loyal fan base, and the hilarious part was Victor Cui came in and they were like, well, we're going to get the social media influencers. And that's what they did. That's who they spend money on for their marketing. Under him, they're going to pay some people who go to the game and take pictures. What? They don't know. They don't know first down from third down, right? They don't know weak side from strong side. They don't know any of that. And you think that's going to bring people to the game? No chance. No chance. There's lots of people that go to football games that don't know the rules inside out, but they know the basic understanding of it. And then you have to look and say, okay, what are the Riverhawks doing? Because I'm not a diehard baseball fan, but there's lots of people who go to their games. Look at the Stingers. They've made it more than just a game. They listen to their fans. They talk to them, right? The one thing the Elks did very well was they allowed the kids to run on the field after the game. That's a huge thing. My son was like, usually he wants to leave early. No, Dad, we're going on the field. All right. So they truck down there and you bring your little football and kids love it, right? Kids love that. And now they want to come back and they're like, Dad, Mom, I want to go to the game. All right, we'll go to the game. It can be cost effective. But there's so many little things they do. But I think you are bang on, Doug. It was how they talked to the existing fan. The name change was kind of the white noise factor. It was how they went about it and how they talked to their loyal fan base during it. And they essentially said, we value the non-fans who we hope to get rather than our current existing clients. And ask any business person out there, that is the number one way to fail. When you start to turn your back or take your loyal base for granted and think, well, we got to get the new person. Of course, you always want to expand, but you don't want to forget who are there. Just how it goes. 324, Jason Gregor, Sean Brown with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Coming to you live from the E-Well studio, EWEL.ca. You're a partner in power, supplying the City of Champions and all of Alberta with great electrical products for over 25 years. Get yours. Stop in the studio. Say hi. They're huge sports fans. They got the show going on all the time in the showroom. It's fantastic. Brownie, it was looking really good today. Go see it. Check it out at EWEL.ca.
Warmer, brighter days can make you crave something to sip. Booster Juice is busting out booster mixers, the summer fixers. Cold, tasty sippers in 5 vibrant varieties. The Mango Teaser, Berry Teaser, Almighty Acai, Game Set Matcha, and Oranges and Cream. Try all 5 and brighten your day a sip at a time. And try the Cookies and Cream Booster Ball, the yummy little bundle of almond butter, maple syrup, coconut, and gluten-free cookies. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
I'm Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And I'm Zach Hyman. And when we're not making juicy, sweet passes or having my goals disallowed, we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling. You know, guys used to call me a plumber. And now they call you an AC repairman. Nice.
Hey, guys, you're not here to fix air conditioners. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well.
Okay. Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
This is Paul Sir, host of the basketball show on Sports 1440. Every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon, we cover local, international, professional basketball right here on Edmonton's exclusive home for sports talk.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing? The Mixed and Mingle League. Join Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club every Thursday as they pair up males and females for a fun and social round of golf. Only $33.30 all season long. Details at cattailcrossing.ca.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Hey, Elks fans.
Jackpot! Touchdown!
Get on the Elks party bus for every home game at On the Rocks for only $35.
Included is a game ticket, round-trip transportation, and a prepaid Coors Light.
Reserve your spot now at ontherocks.com.
And OTR is your go-to for every Euro Cup game.
With $5.25 Heineken.
Their first major trophy. It's the ultimate football experience.
Canadian or European.
Only at On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
Welcome back. Positive Friday edition of the Gregor Show. Sean Brown, Connor Halley on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. If you haven't, try it now. Use the promo code CASINO. You'll get a $50 free play at PlayAlberta.ca. Now, the NHL Draft goes tonight. Oilers do not have a first-round pick, but one team does have a pretty high pick. Also, they are buying out a player. And some rumblings of some other potential moves on the horizon as we go around the NHL. Brought to you by McDonald's Strawberry Sauce. Made with real strawberry pieces mixed with chunks of cheesecake-flavored cookie dough. Delicious. What does it equal? The Strawberry Cheesecake McFlurry. But only for a limited time, 2 more weeks at McDonald's. As we welcome in from the city of brotherly love, Jordan Hall from NBC Philadelphia, beat reporter for the Flyers, joins us. Jordan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me, guys.
The Cam Atkinson, let's start there. The Cam Atkinson, supposedly there was a trade to San Jose. He vetoed it because of his no movement clause, said, no, I don't want to go there. So the Flyers had to pivot and they buy him out. So they, quite a bit of cap savings in year one. They'll have a little bit of a dead cap space next year. From a distance, this seems to make sense financially. How much left do you think Atkinson has in the tank?
Yeah, I think he's really getting up there, and he's such a good guy. He's such a good pro. I really respect him for what he's done in the league. He's got a lot of pedigree, but he just is coming off such a serious injury with his neck. Before last season, he missed all of the year because of a neck injury that required surgery, and now he's 35. And let's be honest, he's a smaller winger. He's a smaller forward that really needs everything else working for his game to work. With his energy, his speed, kind of buzzing around out there. And if he's a step off, his game's gonna see the results of that. I still think he could find a team where he can fit into a locker room and play a role, and maybe a contender that would like, his fit in the locker room, and a guy that can, jump around in your lineup a little bit. So I still think there's something there, and I think he'll get a shot. But with a rebuilding team like the Flyers, with a lot of young players, and they're so tied up against the cap, it just seemed like this was going to happen. A buyout just seemed inevitable.
Jordan, what are your thoughts on the upcoming draft? Obviously, there's been some trades, different teams moving up and trying to get some different picks. Is this a deep draft, or is this a draft? What do you think after the second, third, fourth round and on? Would you say about this draft?
Yeah, I believe the 2025 draft is getting a little more hype in terms of the talent level with the crop of prospects. I believe a lot of teams were hoping for more 2025 picks when they were negotiating trades at the trade deadline and things of that matter. The Flyers even picked one up for 2025, I think, because they thought that draft is better. But I profiled about 12 guys that the Flyers might get at number 12 overall. And the more I looked at these players, the more I think it's a pretty good draft. I think you're going to get players in the top 15 that are going to be difference makers. And then after that, I've heard there's a bit of a drop off. But I think there's some depth to the draft. And like each and every year, I think there's some quality there. I know there's not like a generational talent per se, like a McDavid, but Macklin Celebrini is very good. And I think players after him have some serious potential. So I think the Flyers at number 12 are going to get a good player. I know they reportedly tried to move up to number 4. So Danny Briere, I think, is taking calls, and he's trying to be aggressive and really try to supplement their future. It's all about kind of picks and youth here in Philadelphia.
Patrick Hall, Jordan. Now looking at Jordan, looking at the Flyers draft, and where they're at in their I don't even know if rebuild, retool is probably a better word, because I haven't burned it down to the ground, which is a complete rebuild. And so I don't think they're there. I'm not sure they're going to get there, but you see this team now. How close do you think they truly are to being a competitor? Like, are they still a few years away in the retool? Do you think they're closer, or do you think the whole Carter Hart situation is maybe pushing them back further?
Yeah, there's no doubt the Hart situation hurt them. They kind of have some questions in net now without Hart, and John Tortorella didn't hide from it down the stretch when they started to collapse out of the playoff race. He admitted that Carter Hart and the Hockey Canada sexual assault case obviously impacted their team. That's the number one goalie, and they had to turn to 2 rookies in net the rest of the way. But I do think in-house the Flyers believe, even though they're not saying it publicly, that they're closer to contending than they think, or at least what outside people believe. They have some decent ingredients. They have 6 first-round picks over these next 3 drafts. 2023, the draft that happened last summer. This draft, they have 2 more firsts, and then 2025, again, 2 more firsts. And they have a lot of players that are 25 and younger that took some really good strides last season, and I think there's more upside there. So, and again, they were in the playoff race until the final day of the season. If they didn't lose 9 of their last 11 games, they're in the playoffs. So I think they're closer, and after this season, going into the following off season, they're going to have a lot of dead cap come off their books. And I believe Keith Jones, the president of hockey operations, and Danny Briere, the GM, are going to start to look to spend at that point. And they could be further along with the on-ice products, especially if Matvei Mishkov makes an impact. And then they have some cap space to play around with. I think they'll be an attractive team, I think, to free agents. And that's when they can kind of, I think, put this thing into focus.
What do you see them as their main priority in free agency?
To be quite frank, I don't think they're going to do anything this offseason in free agency. Danny Briere actually, over a week ago, even said, to be honest, I don't think we're going to be able to do anything. They're just so tight up on the cap. Even with the buyout of Atkinson, things are really tight on the cap. And they knew that to facilitate some of these trades that got them first-round picks in return, they had to take on contracts. And because of that, their cap figure is really high. And they knew they were going to be playing a lot of younger players. They were going to be turning to a lot of in-house options here moving forward. So I really think it's the following off season where I think they're going to look to spend and maybe address some needs like center or maybe defensemen. But this off season, I think it's going to be them turning to what they have here in-house. I don't expect them to really be able to spend much. If anything, it's all about depth and maybe getting some guys that are going to compete for their roster for real cheap.
Jordan, I'm looking at your Twitter page, and I see you got a little article there on Liam Greentree. Where is he? Do you see him as a fit? And I'm only asking because I grew up with his dad.
Oh, very cool. That's awesome. No, from what I heard, I spoke to his junior GM, Bill Ballard, and he just raved about him. He's an 18-year-old captain. He said the GM said it was unheard of to name a captain that young of an age, but he just deserved it. He's such a good kid. And it just seems like there's so much upside there. His GM even told me that if the Flyers don't get him at 12, he's not going to be there later in the first. He thinks he'll probably go between 10 and 20. I think a lot of teams are going to like him. I believe he probably did really well in his interviews, just considering the kid that he's been touted as. And I mean, he looks like he could be a potential power forward with skill and 30 goal upside. So I heard great things. I think the Flyers are going to really consider him if he's still there on the board at 12.
Now, you mentioned that you think they're going to be quiet. It's funny. Frank Saravalli believes that John Tortorella, because he's able to get every last drop out of his players, is like the worst coach for the Flyers because, their great start cost them better draft choice at the end of the day. Where do you come out on that? Like, is Tortorella's ability to get the most out of his players, which would seem like a really good thing, is it a bad thing for where they are at in their timeline as a team?
Listen, I think that's a very fair point, and that's kind of been the huge debate here in Philadelphia. You have a section of fans that quite frankly, want them to tank, want them to lose games because they want top 3, top 5 picks. But that's just, I don't think you see a ton of tanking in hockey. You don't see a lot of teams totally ripping it down to the studs. And the Flyers aren't going to do that. Danny Briere vowed to try to be competitive, that the focus is on the future, and they're not going to disregard that. But they want to get better, though. They want to take strides each season. And yeah, maybe that does hurt you a little bit in your draft position. Tortorella absolutely is a coach that gets the most out of his teams. He's known for turning around teams. But I still think he can coach a rebuild. I don't think he gets enough credit for developing younger players. He sacrificed some of his older veteran players' minutes to play younger players. He leaned more towards younger players than I thought he would, and then he gets kind of perceived to do. So I think he's a fine coach for a rebuild because he does get a lot out of younger players, and the Flyers want to get better. If they were looking to get worse, I'd say this is a bad coach for this. But no, they want to take strides forward while getting draft picks and focusing on the future. And I think that's what Tortorella is known for.
What about Travis Konechny? Do you think he gets moved this weekend? Are they going to wait till the deadline? What's your thoughts? Or is there any chance they re-sign him?
Yeah, I'm leaning toward, I think they're going to re-sign him. I believe for a little while, I think management wasn't super convinced on him yet. And then the last 2 years, he's been excellent for them. He's really developed into a leader. He's flirted with 40 goals, and he plays like a flyer. And I think management's been convinced that this is a guy they can have really lead this rebuild. And his age range is pretty good. He's 27. I mean, he was starting to flirt with his mid-30s. I would be concerned there, but he's 27. I think he fits what he wants, what the Flyers want to do age-wise and timeline-wise. And I think they really like the impact he's had on younger players. And I believe they feel that he can get better too. I think there's 40-goal potential there, 70-point, 80-point potential. So I would expect them to get something done maybe before training camp. And if not, I don't think it's going to linger too long. I think they don't really believe he should go into the year in a contract year. And I don't think he wants to. He wants to be here.
All right, Jordan, I really appreciate your time. Enjoy the draft. The team you cover should be front and center involved in it, so it should be good. Enjoy your time.
Thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate you having me.
There you go. That's Jordan Hall from NBC Philadelphia. The NHL draft will be. I've texted a few people that are there. I was scheduled to go, but because my flight originally was Tuesday night, and then we didn't get back from Florida until Tuesday, so I actually wouldn't have made my flight. And then the Oilers had their exit meetings on Wednesday and the GM on Thursday, so it didn't make a lot of sense to fly down there just to cover the first round that the Oilers aren't in. It would have been nice just because of the atmosphere. It sounds like the Sphere is just like this unreal facility. So that's. I hope there's some good videos that come out from the inside and what they're seeing. And although sometimes what you see in person when you put it on video, it doesn't show up as well. So I don't know. Maybe that's not the case. We'll see. But you might want to, as an Oilers fan, you'll probably watch it because you're a hockey fan. And you'll be intrigued to see, are there going to be some trades? Usually there's a few trades up or down. And sometimes if there's going to be a player, like a big-time player traded, then usually it happens in the first 15 picks, right? Because if you're going to give up a real proven, solid NHL player, then you're going to want a good high draft pick. So that's kind of why I'll pay attention at that point. The second round, Oilers goes tomorrow. It's a lot more rapid fire. They have the 64th pick, and they don't pick again until 160th. So I'm not sure how busy it will be in that regard. We do have some texts on potential trades. We'll get to that when we return to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The 100% Canadian beef McDonald's Western Barbecue Quarter Pounder is quite the mouthful. So who better to sell it in 30 seconds than a 100% Canadian auctioneer?
Oh, mercy, it's back. 100% Canadian beef, topped with delicious smoky barbecue sauce and bacon. Who wants bacon? We got hickory smoked bacon strips, crispy onions. Who wants pickles? Not one down, better than 2 slices of processed cheddar cheese, served on a toasted sesame seed bun, and it's so for a limited time at participating McDonald's restaurants in Western Canada.
Rule number 12, not spending the afternoon tubing on the Pembina. Next, you'll tell us you don't wear flannel. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
The Cheesy Burger Pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the Cheesy Burger Trio or choose between the large Cheesy Burger Pizza for $18.99, Cheesy Burger Papadilla for $9.99, and Bacon Cheesy Burger Papa Bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some Cheesy Burger Pizza at Papa John's.
Late night sports, you got it. This is Jason Smith from Fox Sports. You can hear my show weeknights from 9 to midnight on Sports 1440. Mike Harmon joins me as we talk about what happened today in the world of sports, all right here on Sports 1440.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words.
Oodle noodle time. Oodle noodle time.
You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
I'm Rick Showers from Noble RV, and we're having a moving sale at our Spruce Grove store. Now, our new store in Leduc is huge, and we have room for lots more. But we have over 100 quality used RVs here in Spruce Grove, and I'd rather give you a great deal than pay a mover to take it to Leduc. Does that make sense to you, Johnny?
Makes perfect sense to me, Rick. So what's your plan?
Well, Johnny, first thing is we're going to take the moving costs off the price of every used RV in Spruce Grove, and we do accept offers. So find the perfect used RV right here. We have over 100 camping trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, tent trailers, and motorhomes. See anything you like, Johnny?
Might just keep this one for myself, Rick.
Yeah, we get that a lot, but the moving sale is for a very limited time. We have to close the Spruce Grove store in just a couple weeks. But if we happen to have what you're looking for, then it's a win for both of us.
And that's NobleRV.ca.
Ask and you shall receive. Welcome back. We're seeing a lot of the videos now from people inside the Sphere. It does look pretty awesome. So I think just to watch it for the cinematography tonight, that might be a reason for you to check out the draft. I don't know if you have to be committed for all 4 hours of the first round because it's a little bit long. No question. But
I think it's pretty special. I love it because it's no different than when they win the Stanley Cup and they bring out the families, right? I think I love watching the kids get drafted, but I love watching the families and the excitement. And I think, it's like must watch if you're a hockey fan, I think.
Yeah. Calvin Pickard's contract is official. It's 2 year. It's a one-way deal. So he makes $1 million AAV for the next 2 seasons. And whether he gets sent to the minors or not. So for this coming season, I think it's a lock that he starts in Edmonton. And I really think that if they believe that young Rodrigue next year, because I think he needs a full year being the full-fledged starter 100%. Right? The past few years he's kind of split. You want him to say, okay, you're going to start like Stuart Skinner not every game, but 80% of the games in the American League. And so he'll do that all year long. And then, he'll need waivers the following season. So that's when you'll have to make a decision. And by then, you know what? If Pickard's in the minors, he doesn't count against the cap and he gets a reward. And you know what? I know there's some people saying, why wouldn't you just sign other backups? Well, Calvin Pickard for your backup gave you quality starts for what you'd want for your backup. They didn't ask too much of him. He also, they know how he fits in the room. And I think that's probably undervalued sometimes for people. You can go get another backup. Like, how much better are other backups truly going to be? Like, is there a backup who's going to be a 930 in Edmonton? Probably not. Right? So if Pickard's a 908, 9-10. You're really happy if it's like you're doing cartwheels if it's 9-10 because that's above average nowadays. I think last year the 905 was the average. So, you don't need out of this world goaltending from your backup. You just need to be quality backup that you trust. The teammates like him. They know him. And Brady, you played on teams. Like some backups are better than others as far as in the room and accepting the role.
Yeah. No argument from me here. I mean, he deserved it. Every time he got in there, he performed. And I don't know him personally, but you can only pick up from what you see on the interviews and how he handles himself and what guys say about him. But he seems like he's that guy in the dress room that backups have to be. They have to be the guy that, comes with a great attitude. You're not going to play a ton. It's going to stay out on the ice, get out there early, stay out late. And I'm sure he's got a really special relationship with Stuart Skinner too. And I think that's really important too, right? Where, he's going to be in a situation where he's, going to be competitive and trying to push for starts and trying to better himself and to push Stuart Skinner. But also at the end of the day, I think it's, from what I've seen in my past experiences, it's really important that those two have a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
It goes a long way. And you touched on it. The dynamics in the dressing room are so important, right? To have that guy and to have guys as a whole understand where they fit and to be comfortable knowing where they fit and are going to come with the right attitude, the right work ethic is so important.
Yeah, for sure. So he's the guaranteed backup next season, I think. And then the following year, it depends how he plays. Like nothing's ever guaranteed, but you know what? If he does falter and Rodrigue's lighting up in the minors, then away they go. But I really think that the Oilers are going to want Rodrigue to play a ton in the AHL. They don't need split time for him anymore. I think they need him to be a number one guy.
Yeah, I think when you're in the minors, that's one thing. As whether you are a player or a goalie, you have to go through the grind, and it's different being a player or being a goalie when you're young and there isn't a whole lot expected of you. And now as a goalie, especially, it's like you have to, when you play a good game, it's not like holy jumping, let's make a big deal of this. You're expected to play a good game. Right. And you're expected to play another good game and add that consistency. And that's part about being a pro is just the understanding of, and you learn it more. You're going to learn it in the American Hockey League that, the bus, the grind, playing in some of those cities and, there isn't in different cities, sometimes you're playing in front of maybe 1,000 people. So that, when I think back to my time in the American Hockey League, I loved it, but it was hard. It was a grind, and there's no better league to prepare you for the NHL.
Yeah, 100%. 353, a lot of text line in 833-401-1440. Hey guys, I sure hope 2 years and millions of standard contract is being thrown around by Jackson and company to our pending free agents from PP. Yeah, fair point. Right. I think they would love to get Brown and Janmark on deals around that range. And like, it might be 1.2, but honestly, like once they buy out Jack Campbell, I think this Picker deal for sure solidifies that they're buying out Jack Campbell now. I would expect it to be put on waivers, tomorrow. Yeah. Right, it's a Saturday, whatever. It's a draft and it gets put on waivers because he has to, the buyouts until the 30th. I guess you could wait right till the last minute, but why? Although I shouldn't say that. I think they will try every avenue tomorrow to trade him and see if a team will take him for half. I really doubt it, but you never know. Yeah. And then if not, you buy him out. You've got your backup for this season. You've got your starter in the American League. They'll get a backup somewhere, which is fine. And then they will, in the meantime, if they buy out Campbell, which I think they will, or even if they trade him, I guess they don't get as much savings if they trade him. But if they buy him out, they'll get $3.9 million savings. And then they would have now with Pickard signed, they would have $13 million to sign 2 defensemen, one of them being Broberg, and 6 or 7 forwards, with one of them being Holloway. Because, both guys are both RFAs, they're both going to get qualified. Neither one has arbitration rights. This is the year where you kind of hold the hammer as a team and just say, guys, this is business. It's nothing personal. Take your qualifying offer, a little bit more, and we move on.
What an amazing story the Connor Brown is.
Yeah.
Right. To come in here, have the season that he had and now put himself in a position where, he's valued. The mental strength, I just admire, his determination, his positive attitude. That could not have been easy, coming into this team and with those expectations and, when they were struggling the way they were, and he was a little bit of a lightning rod, not putting up a point, not getting a goal. For any young athlete or for anyone in Edmonton that wants to be a professional hockey player, should look at that guy's demeanor and how he carried himself and faced the music day after day, never hid from anything, and got his game back. I think it's important for all athletes to see that and hear that.
Yes.
What a great story, but what a great person to have in a room, for that type of leadership. And think of how much he's going to be able to pass that on, to young kids that are struggling at different times in their career, to just put in the work, face the music, don't make excuses. Is like I said, it's quite remarkable.
Yeah. Hey guys, what are your thoughts on John Marino? New Jersey's trying to trade him. Would he be an upgrade on Ceci? From Sean. Well, he's more expensive. I'm not. Now, this is going to be a generalization, but to me, he's kind of a soft American defender. So I'm not sold that John Marino is the guy that I think pushes the Oilers over the top on their back end. Does he move the puck better than Ceci? Without question. I don't know if he's a better defender, and I don't think he's as good on the PK. So, but he moves the puck better. There's no debate on that. But the Oilers, I wouldn't take Marino at his cap hit over Ceci. I don't think it would make their team that much better. Especially when you think that Broberg is going to be a guy who plays in your top four next year. So, if you're arguing that Ceci's too expensive for your third pair, then Marino definitely is. So I don't see a fit.
I don't know enough about him, but we're just done with Ceci now?
No,
just because he struggled?
Hey, well, see, people say Ceci struggled in some elements, but he shone on the penalty kill. How many guys in the playoffs can play that many minutes, not get scored on the penalty kill, and be a plus player on the penalty kill? Like, Brandon, it doesn't happen, right? Like, it's a big part of your team. I think if Cody Ceci's a third pair defenseman, it's really good. Now, his cap hit maybe doesn't match that. And if you say that, sure. But I think there's way too many people that want to disparage Cody Ceci as a player. Oh, he doesn't pass the puck well, so that means nothing about his game is good. And there could not be any more wrong. And that's the analysis you'll get. Well, look at this, that, and I'm like, okay, you don't like Ceci, and that's okay. You don't have to like him. But he's not nearly as bad as people think. And if the Oilers wanted to trade him, teams would take him.
That's what right? I'm thinking. Yeah.
But so you trade Cody Ceci and then you lose Desharnais. Go look at the free agent right shot defenseman list. Just go look. Who are you going to get? They'll be cheaper. Are they better? The Oilers went to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup. Okay, with Cody Ceci, and he wasn't a problem. Cody Ceci struggled early in the playoffs. He got a lot better later in the playoffs. Right. So you can't downgrade on Cody Ceci. Right. And hey, in the cup final, he was playing third pair minutes. So again, if you want to move Ceci and then you re-sign Desharnais, then I would listen. Because now you're going to have Desharnais, who's going to be cheaper than 3.25 for sure. And he'll play in your third pair and he can kill penalties. And I actually think that in a few years, I don't know if he'll ever shoot the puck like Ceci. Like Paul Coffey got Ceci to shoot the puck more. Really worked on him shoot the puck. Look how many goals he scored. Scored some pretty big goals for the Oilers in the playoffs, right? And now I know that's not his thing, but he has a really hard shot. He just doesn't use it very often. And Coffey, the one thing, maybe the best attribute Coffey had as a coach was he really encouraged the players to believe in all of their strengths. He hated, and I talked to Paul after, he says, the one thing I hate is when people tell a player he could only be this. Right. And in your era, Brownie, it was you're a defensive defenseman. I don't care if you move, just get the puck out. It wasn't like, hey, we want you to defend well, but make plays. Right now, the game's changed. And, like a young parent told me that their son, who I coach now as youth coach, is like, you're a defenseman. You don't make plays. And I'm like, do you even watch hockey now? Like you can't be a defenseman if you don't make plays anymore. Gone are the days of off the glass and out that's a every now and then play. But it's not the norm.
It can't
play,
be your go-to
right?
play.
So if you want to get rid of Ceci, all I say is you can't just say get rid of Ceci. Who are you replacing him with? You have to have the second part of the equation. You have to. So tell me who are the free agents that are better in the third pair than Ceci? Not cheaper, but better. Because they can still afford him in the third pairing. They can afford him because Philip Broberg is going to play second pair and he's going to be cheaper.
Well, like you said, I mean, they lost in game 7. He had moments, where he struggled, but there was moments where they all struggled. There was moments where
he played really well.
That's what I'm saying. And throughout the league, there was guys that went through those highs and lows. I think that this whole experience that we watched a lot of guys grow and add, different, Broberg as an example, like took another step. I don't think just because you lost in game 7, or you had moments where it wasn't going maybe the way you would like, that all of a sudden you can't play anymore. Is there not some growth opportunities for Cody Ceci as well, right? To learn from that run, to learn some of the areas in his game where maybe he can get better. He is a professional. I think we got to be careful that all of a sudden we start to devalue what we actually have.
Yeah. And also Marino is an American player who was drafted by the Oilers, who didn't sign her out of college because he wanted to play in the U.S. He's not coming here, right? And I don't think he's the answer for what the Oilers need at this point. So, hey guys, what do you think about Evander Kane? You think he'll be back next year? He's got a full no movement clause. Although, like I've said, a full no movement clause just means he would get to control where he goes. Would the team consider a deal? I think they would. Do I think there's a big trade market for him right now? Probably not. Right? The concern will be, now, obviously the one wrist injury was completely unlucky, but he's been nicked up. And I think Evander Kane, the best way I'll say this, Brandon, then we got to go to break, is I think Evander Kane has to recognize you can't cheat the game. And what I mean by that is Evander Kane is one of those ridiculously naturally talented human beings. Like you played with some guys who are just unreal athletes, right? Yeah. And maybe they can get by not having to train at the full level because they're such great athletes. And that's what I think he is. And now when you say that, I'm talking training at the NHL level. It's not that he's out of shape, but he wasn't in the best shape he could be when camp started this year. He wasn't.
Really?
Yes, 100%.
Why?
Well, I can tell you. Well, the easiest way, Brownie, there's a look on players that train, and then there's the guys who are a little bit soft and not soft, but a little.
Yeah. I've seen him with this. That guy looks jacked.
Not this year, not compared to what he's been.
Really?
Yes, that was the first thing I noticed.
Okay.
And if you looked at if you just look at his burst right from the start of the season, he wasn't the same player. I don't think Evander Kane was in, because he's a freakishly good natural athlete. And I've talked to a lot of coaches, and they say some guys, at some point you recognize, you get to your 30s, it's just like eating habits. You could eat like whatever you want in your 20s. It doesn't matter. All of a sudden you get to your 30s. Oh, geez, I can't be having a bowl of chips every night. And all of a sudden I got a little bit of love handles, right? And so for NHL players, he doesn't have love handles.
Yeah.
But if you're not continually getting better, you fall behind a little bit and then you start to break down. And so I think Evander Kane will need to come in, and if he's in the best shape of his life this year, he can be a real big difference maker. I think the Oilers missed him. I would say if Evander Kane was healthy in the Cup final,
they needed him.
Yeah, he would help your team, no question. But he needs to get healthy. And when you start to break down all the time, Brownie, sometimes it's unlucky. But for a guy who is always healthy, I just don't think it's luck. I think you're not putting in the proper work, because your body's your temple in the NHL. It's your number one value. Not your stick, not your skill, like your body. You got to keep it in. And it's hard. You would know, right? It's really hard to stay in that elite shape.
Yeah, well, you'd never get out of shape. That's one thing you learn as you get older.
Yeah.
You just never get out of shape. You
Right.
always just stay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But would you admit that there's being in shape, and then there's being in game shape, and then there's just getting by shape, right? I'm sure you've played with different guys at different times who are in different levels of shape. Fair?
You've seen his body and I didn't.
But I'm just asking you, did you play with guys and you could tell some guys came in and for whatever reason, they weren't in as crisp a shape as they were last. And the easiest way, Brown, is if when you look at the test results, all you got to do is the test results never lie.
Oh,
in
yeah.
training camp, right?
Yeah.
So I can tell you the test results weren't where they had been in the past.
Okay. Well, I didn't see the results.
There
so
you go.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break. Let's get to the comments. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. More than just tires. Stop in. They got all their great certified mechanics can help you stay on the road at fountaintire.com.
The Sports 1440 update.
The Oilers have signed goaltender Calvin Pickard to a 2-year contract extension with an AAV of $1 million. Pickard appeared in 23 games with the Oilers last regular season, plus 3 games in the postseason with a record of 1-1. We're hours away from the draft in Vegas. It gets going just after 5 o'clock. We do have a trade. The Montreal Canadiens acquiring the 21st overall pick from the LA Kings for pick number 26, 57, and 198. And according to reports, the Tampa Bay Lightning and Victor Hedman closing in on a contract extension. Hedman is heading into the final year of his 8-year, $63 million contract with a cap hit of 7.875. Also from the NHL, the Philadelphia Flyers buying out forward Cam Atkinson. Atkinson, 35, had 1 year remaining on his 7-year deal, $41 million. He would have been a cap hit of 5.875 this season. In the association, the Raptors and guard Emmanuel Quickly agreeing to terms on a contract extension, 5 years, $175 million to stay in Toronto. Quickly was acquired by the Raptors from the Knicks on December 30th, along with Canadian RJ Barrett for OG Anunoby. And it looks like Andrew Wiggins will not be a part of Canada's senior men Olympic team. According to Doug Smith of the Toronto Star, the Golden State Warriors playing hardball with Wiggins while looking to trade him, preventing him from representing his country in Paris. Week 4 in the CFL rolls on tonight. You got the Argos taking on the Alouettes. That one gets going just after 5:30. In the majors, the Jays take on the Yankees at 5:07. Copa America right now, Colombia and Costa Rica scoreless in the 7th minute. Later tonight, you got Brazil taking on Paraguay. And in the WNBA at 5:30, the Sun host the Dream. Then at 8 o'clock, the Sparks head to Phoenix to take on the Mercury. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Ryan Pike of Flames Nation and Craig Hutton from the NHL on TSN. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CHJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Hey, Kevin, what are you doing in here?
Well, last month you were giving away, so I just thought I would see if you were still giving away in June.
Stop swearing. And yes, we are still giving away in June at St. Albert Dodge. Take our 2024 Durango. Was $64,500 and now just $52,900. Need a new Ram 1500 4x4 crew cab? We've got it. Originally $63,700, now just $44,900.
See, you're still giving away.
Kevin, stop swearing. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Heavy hauling in the worst of climates can be dreadful. Take the stress off the job with AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers. They redefine heavy hauling with premium heavy haul trailers designed, manufactured, and battle tested in the harshest of conditions. And if your heavy haul trailer has issues, their full service and frame inspections will tell you exactly what's wrong and why. They take the guessing out of repair work with quality engineered frame repairs that get you back working quick. Discover the difference at AccuSteel.ca.
Edmonton Stingers basketball face the Saskatchewan Rattlers Monday, July 1st at the Edmonton Expo Center. Enjoy affordable family fun with a $5 food and drink menu and free parking. Tickets start at just $20. Visit thestingers.ca/tickets.
The Ben Maller Show rolls out weeknights at midnight here on Sports 1440. I've been told I have one of the most compelling overnight sports talk shows, but I question that decision. I will let you be the judge. Check it out, midnight to 4 here on Sports 1440.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions take one for Ryan Nugent Hopkins and Zach Hyman. Are you ready, guys?
We were born ready. Heck yes, Nuge. Drop the beat. Legacy, Legacy. We freaking killed it, Nuge. That's what I'm talking about, Zachary Martin Hyman.
Nice guys. we're going to sell a lot of air conditioners.
Hey, doesn't Legacy offer no payments and no interest for a year on those?
Yeah, well, thanks for the assist on the copy points there, Nooch.
It's just what I do.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
What a season. What a ride. Congratulations on an incredible season from GS Construction. Whether you're a laborer, pipe layer, or pipe layer's helper, lead hand, operator, top man or woman, or water and sewer foreman, GS Construction has room for you on their team. GS Construction, celebrating 50 years of laying the groundwork of Edmonton and communities throughout Alberta. Let's get to work. Get started today at gsconstruction.ca.
Does your bank do local? We do. When you bank with Vision Credit Union, you're banking with a rural Albertan cooperative that cares about the community where you live. There's no question. We actively support our rural communities at the local level through charitable donations, volunteerism, local team and event sponsorships, and by returning millions in profit shares to our members every year. Does your bank do that? We do local. Bank with Vision Credit Union. VisionCU.ca.
Christ, I used to have no shirt on. What did people say about me?
.411, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sean Brown with you. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook as you get set for the NHL entry draft tonight and tomorrow. Of course, round 1 tonight, rounds 2 through 7. Tomorrow, free agent frenzy begins on Monday, and we'll have it right here at Sports 1440, 10 a.m. Tune in. We'll keep you up to date on everything. The Oilers did make a signing today. Calvin Pickard, 2-year deal, one-way contract with a $1 million AAV. So there's a guy who spent, after starting out in the NHL, he spent 7 years in the minors, always believed he could get back, and he got the opportunity this year, did very well as a backup. I think he gets rewarded. Good for him. And, teammates love him. There's something to be said about it. I do believe, Stretty said it many times. He feels a big reason why his career lasted as long as it did was the one thing you can control is your attitude and your character. You can control that. And that was something he did. And I think it was Avery who came on our show and said, Strut should write a book. He goes, I never met anybody who was more well-liked by everybody as a teammate. And I think that matters. And so Calvin Pickard is a guy, it's like a journeyman guy, but that obviously you need some skill and ability to stay in the league, but I think that helps him. So that's what he's done. Now, let's get to our draft report brought to you by Action Electrical, where, hey, you want to take action on your savings? No better place to do it. ActionElectrical.net. If you've been thinking about it, you're on the fence, you want to get solar, they can tell you all the ways to save as much money as you can. There's still some grants available. I'll help you out. ActionElectrical.net. As we are joined by Ryan Pike from Flames Nation. Piker, how you doing?
It's going well, Jason. How about you?
It's not bad. Are you in the Sphere right now?
No. We got a remote location set up for today for us, so it's going to be an exciting day, though.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. You look at the Flames. I guess let's start with the Mangiapane deal. I look at him, and I remember when he signed his contract, it's like awesome for him, but I thought the 35 goals was very difficult to repeat. Like, it's hard for anybody to score 35 goals. What did you make of, since then for Mangiapane, and why was the right time now for the Flames to move him for a second round?
I mean, he's a guy that you can put him up against pretty much anybody on the other team, and he'll give you reliable minutes. He's spent a lot of his tenure with the Flames sort of stapled to some pretty good centers. You guys know Derek Ryan very well up north. He was the guy that basically helped transition Mangiapane to the NHL. But, we've seen, Mangiapane with the likes of Michael Backlund, with Nazem Kadri, with pretty much anybody. And he's good enough that his details are good enough he can play against anybody. The thing that killed him last year was just his shooting percentage just cratered on him. He was generating chances, but just could not bury things to save his life. And, you could tell at some points it seemed to sort of drive him a little bit crazy. But, at worst, he's a guy with really good fundamentals, really good underlyings. And, maybe he's just a good third liner that you can put out against guys. The Capitals are banking that, maybe there's more there. With the amount of money he was getting paid, $5.8 million is a little bit heavy to be paying a good third liner. So I think that was sort of one of the things that contributed to his departure from here. That and his status as an impending UFA in a little bit over 12 months. But I think he's a guy that age-wise, he probably wasn't going to be a core piece when the Flames hopefully emerge from the wilderness. And so I think that made him a little bit expendable right now.
What could you say about Craig Conroy's small body of work to this point right now? He's made some trade, made some moves. I like his approach. If you don't want to be there, he'll find a way to get you out of there. What are your thoughts on what he's done to this point so far?
Yeah, I mean, the terms he uses are, they want to build a culture here. And part of it is, being a tough team to play against and a team that plays a really structured and tenacious brand of hockey, but it's also having guys that want to be Calgary Flames. And, they have some guys that have locked in long-term. They have guys that have really, come up to the organization that seem to fit that mold. And, I think I'll say this about Craig. It seems, at least so far, that he has a plan. I mean, right now we're going through both the easy and the hard part of the plan, whereas, it's easy to sort of tear things down and ship out guys piecemeal for stripping for parts. The tougher part's coming up, where once you've sort of stripped it down to the studs or almost to the studs, then you got to build onto it. But, it appears, at least early on, he's got the stomach for doing some of the tough work of sending guys elsewhere and, providing guys the opportunities to potentially, make their mark in other markets.
Looking at their draft day approach, I'd seen some rumblings that, they were trying to move up to Montreal. And I know teams always try to move up, and it's rare that those type of trades happen simply because the cost is obviously way too high just to move up a few spots. What do you think they're looking for with their first pick?
I think they're looking for somebody that can be a difference maker. I mean, if you look at the Flames reserve list right now, and, all due respect to the players in the organization, I would say they have a bunch of good prospects and a bunch of good players. But if you look at the list of names the Flames have under contract or that they've drafted, there's really no one there that sort of, strikes you as, hot damn, that guy's going to lead them to the promised land. They have a bunch of good, like Connor Halley is a good example. Connor Halley projects as a good to very good NHL player. He came in as a rookie last year and was really one of the difference makers in the team, along with, Martin Pospisil, guys that sort of transformed the team from sort of being, kind of listless in October and November to sort of having a bit of bite to it. And, that's just a good purpose. But, you kind of need a difference maker. So I think they're hoping they can, find one of those really good defensemen potentially, or maybe, one of those, the key forwards, like a Lindstrom or a Ginla slides to them at 9. And then they have the opportunity to add someone that could be a star and a difference maker for their club.
Is it like with the trades and the moves that he's made, it seems like they are in a rebuild. Are the Flames fans, do you feel like they're going to be patient enough? Because it seems like, they're going to get eventually they're going to get a new rink here. But do you feel like the fan base would be patient enough with Craig and some of the decisions that he's made?
I think so. I think I'll say this about Flames fans, and I'm not the first one to say this. I think Flames fans are pretty intelligent, and I think as long as they're told, okay, here's what's going on, I think they're willing to live with some stuff. I mean, if you look back to when Brad Treliving arrived in 2014, he was pretty open about what the club is doing, and I think he didn't use the word rebuild, but he sort of talked about being in an asset accumulation phase and sort of trying to build towards being a contender. And ultimately, they ended up there, not for very long, but they ended up sort of trending in that right direction. And the South Dome was mostly full most nights, and the crowds were into it. So I think as long as the fans kind of know, they're taking their medicine as long as it's for a purpose, I think they're willing to be patient as long as there's a plan in place.
And I think that's fair. And that's really what it is, right? Like, what's the plan? It doesn't sound like it's a rebuild, because to me, they got too many good players to rebuild, right? Like, they would have to get rid of everybody, Weegar, Huberdeau, Kadri, go down the list and just like give them away for nothing. And, I don't see that occurring. So how are they going to try to do that? Walk the line, do you think, Ryan, of retooling while trying to stay competitive?
Well, I think that's the challenge, because I think they're going to be giving a lot of these young guys prominent spots. Like, case in point, it's goaltending. Next, it's Justin Wolf season. The Flames are in a situation where Dan Vladar is coming off major hip surgery, and he's expected to be ready for training camp. But you never know how guys are going to react once live pucks fire at them coming off that kind of surgery. So 23-year-old Dustin Wolf is going to be given every chance to be the number one goalie for the Calgary Flames next year. And that's both kind of exciting, but also a little bit terrifying, considering he's only played 18 games. But if he's halfway close to what the Flames think he could be, that's something. I mean, Mackenzie Weegar has really been trending in the right direction. He's a really good anchor for the defenseman. Kevin Ball, who they got from New Jersey, they have a lot of faith in. They really like Neil Miramanov, and I think we saw some nice things out of him. Alder Shillington on the back end, they're negotiating a contract with him as we speak. And he came in after missing 21 months of hockey and looked pretty decent. They have a lot of guys like that. They have a lot of guys that you go, okay, this guy's young and he's trending, and maybe he can take a step. And if enough of those guys take a step, pretty soon, I don't think this coming season you should expect anything amazing from the Flames. They'll probably end up roughly where they were last season in terms of finishing, 9th, 10th, 11th from the bottom in the league. They have some trade conditions that sort of give them a baked-in incentive to be bottom 10, because that way Montreal gets a slightly worse draft pick from them in the Monahan trade. But, they've also insulated themselves from that a bit, getting the draft pick from New Jersey. So they have the opportunity where if things turn out poorly for them, well, the kids will get experience and they'll progress, and maybe in another year they'll be ready to not have things go poorly for them. And if things go well for them, if Wolf turns out to be anything close to what they think he could be, and if guys like Coronado and Honzik and Jacob Pelche and guys like that, if they can all take a bit of a step, I don't think they're a playoff team, but I think they could be a team that ends up being a tough out by midseason.
Ryan Pike from Flames Nation joins us, and that's always the risk when you're hoping on a lot of young players, because the truth is they won't all take steps at once. I guess I shouldn't say that. Maybe they'll be the Seattle Kraken of 2023, but it's kind of rare. Dustin Wolf is intriguing to me. He's lit it up in the American League, and I understand it's like there's nothing more he can do. Now it's very limited numbers, but his numbers in the NHL, Ryan, not that great. The shooters are just infinitely better, and he's a smaller goaltender. Right now, UC Saros has shown you can be a shorter goaltender and still be elite. Where do you come out on Wolf? What's a realistic expectation for him?
That's a good question. I think, last year it was a tough year for him because he was sort of bouncing between the Wranglers and the Flames. And it wasn't really until that last part of the season where they shut down Dan Vladar that he really got a chance to go on a run and develop a rhythm. And I think we saw a lot of progression from him. And I think, for him, if I would say next season, you're hoping that he's league average, because that would mean that there's a big progression for him. And I'm really curious in terms of how they manage him, because, he's been playing like 40 or 50 games a season. Can he be a 40 or 50 game NHL player out of the gate? I'm not sure. I don't know if Dan Vladar can play a ton of hockey next year, depending. He's the big X factor. So I'm really, really curious in terms of, what kind of progression do we see from Wolf? Because again, like in that March, April period, he really seemed to figure out the adjustments he had to make and the tinkering he had to do. And I'll say this, if you're the Flames defense, you kind of had to get used to Wolf too. And I think knowing your goaltender's tendencies allows you to sort of, adjust how you take particular shots, how you, the kind of coverage you provide him with. And if you're the Flames, maybe, we'll see some strategic tinkering in terms of the defensive coverage just in front of him, because, when he had a half decent defense in front of him, especially when the defensive group found a rhythm, after the trade deadline, he looks pretty decent. And, for a guy who barely played any NHL at all, that's pretty remarkable.
What can you say about Jonathan Huberdeau? You talk about managing, a goaltender, but what is it in his game that, you'd want to see, or you're hoping to see, some changes in maybe his approach in the summer and his workouts, but what are you hoping to see from his game? Like and why can't he seem to get the traction that he had in Florida, in Calgary?
I think it's sort of a mixture of the systems the Flames played. I mean, Florida was a sort of a more of an East-West team. They allowed him to sort of dipsy-doodle and have a bit of swagger to his game, whereas the Flames under Darryl Sutter especially were very workmanlike. And, Jonathan Huberdeau just did not mesh well with that coach and that style. I think under Ryan Huska, he figured out a bit more of what he can be and what he can do in a more structured system. And, I think we saw a bit of swagger back to his game. And I'm really curious, especially after a year under Huska, I think there's sort of a shared understanding of what the expectations are for him going forward in terms of on and off the ice leadership. But I also think there's some shared understanding about how good he can be under Huska. And I think a lot of what the Flames coaching staff did in the past 12 months has been sort of building up Huberdeau's confidence in himself. And I think it really started to show in his game after Christmas. He was, pretty much a point per game player in the back half of the season. And, if I don't know if anyone can live up to a $10.5 billion contract, I certainly wouldn't want to have to. But I think for him, if he can be a consistent, positive, player in the ledger, getting points, getting scoring chances, allowing his teammates and his line mates to have those moments where they can be difference makers, I think they can get a lot of positive juice out of him yet.
Ryan, we appreciate it for fun. Who are the Flames drafting? What's your pick?
Let's say TJ Ginla.
TJ Ginla. All right. No pressure on the kid. No pressure on the kid at all then. We'll see. Thanks for your time, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Well, take care, guys.
There you go. That's Ryan Pike from Flames Nation. And there's a lot of people out there that think very much could do that. Like that. Man, here's the difference, though. At least if they draft him, it's because he's worthy of it. He's not Bronny James. Like, my goodness. And unfortunately, Bronny James had to do a press conference afterwards where he had to be like, well, I don't think they only drafted me because of my dad. And I'm like, oh my goodness, man. You average 4 points a game in college. It's just unfortunate. And it's a case there of just an overzealous parent. It just shows you that you got to be rational.
As in LeBron?
Yes.
It affects us all. We all have crazy in us.
It's ridiculous. And that it just shows you where the Lakers organization, hey, LeBron James is an unbelievable player. It's amazing that he's basically.
So you think they drafted him just because of
I think, dude. I know. I talked to anybody.
Really?
If his last name wasn't James, he wasn't getting drafted.
He wasn't even going to get drafted.
No.
Okay.
Dude, he averaged 4 points. He wasn't even the best
It's
player.
not what he's doing right now. It's what he's going to do later.
You don't average 4 points in college and suddenly become a really good. Hey, you know what? We're going to draft this guy. And keep in mind, there's only 2 rounds in the NBA, right? There's only 2 rounds in the NBA draft. There's like 60 guys drafted. Now I get there's a fewer guys to play, but trust me, this wasn't even close.
So that's just the play to keep LeBron there.
Yes.
Yeah.
He wants to play with this kid, and that's like, I don't know. Just imagine how uncomfortable that is for everybody else on the team, knowing, and even for him. Now he can say that, oh, it's not true, but he knows it.
I thought he has some. I thought he had some skill.
His younger brother's more skilled than him.
Oh, really?
Right? Like he has some skill. He's playing college ball. You're a good player, but he's not an NBA player.
Okay,
that's all.
Well, at least that's not the case for a game.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like he is legit.
Yeah,
but there would still be a lot of pressure there, right? Like I remember Tyson Berry telling this story, and he was a 3rd rounder. And when Tampa Bay had the chance, because they had him on their board, and he said, "Dad was the owner." He said, "Please don't draft me," and they didn't. They didn't draft him. So. Now, I don't know if the Ginla family, he would say, hey, Dad, don't draft me. Now, it's different because it's a top 10 pick, and you're like, Jesus. But a 3rd rounder, you're like, well, okay, you know what? Maybe we can let it slide. But if they really think he's the best player, they're going to have to take him.
And he's got Jerome's working with the Flames too, right?
Well, that's my point. Yeah. It's a tough one. So we'll see. Quick break. We'll come back. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Hi, Jason Gregor for Volvo of Edmonton. This summer, lease a new 2024 Volvo XC60 with 0% finance, or save up to $6,500 on select models for qualifying loyal customers. Plus a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty with all demo vehicles. And if you're thinking hybrid, save $6,000 off all 2024 new and demo XC60 Recharge plug-in models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. 1205 101st Street Southwest, or visit VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
Are you an expert in flat roofing or sheet metal fabrication and installation? Albatross Roofing and Construction wants to hire you. Candidates must have SBS modified bitumen experience and valid CSTS certification. Enjoy excellent wages, benefits, and career progression. Submit your application at roofingalbatross.ca today.
Your business is unique. It has its own challenges and its own risks. Does your commercial insurance reflect that? At High Street Insurance, we believe in a personalized approach. As an independent broker, we take the time to create a partnership with you. We get to know your business and ensure that your insurance coverage is specifically designed to protect what matters to you. Insurance that's dependable, transparent, and tailored to suit your unique needs. Good protection starts with understanding you. Reach out to us today at highstreetinsurance.com.
Boxing Week pricing is back at the Brick, and that means amazing end-of-year sales during summertime. Save up to 40% off mattresses and up to $700 off sectionals. Also, take up to 25% off dining and bedroom packages. Plus, from June 28th to July 1st only, find specialty Boxing Weekend deals like mattresses starting at just $149.95. Make your dream home a reality with brand name items on a budget. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Basketball and hockey seasons are heating up. Baseball is just getting started, and we've got you covered with around-the-clock sports coverage. Tune in for Fox Sports tonight after 9 and all weekend long. Sports 1440 has you covered.
Mr. Rooter does a TED Talk.
Thank you for coming today. Let's talk about it. Pressure. Everyone in this room feels pressure. But let me tell you something about pressure. I'd rather feel too much pressure than not enough. You know why? Because low pressure often means you have corroded pipes, impaired water lines, or a calcified shower head. And who needs that? I'm Mr. Rooter, and this has been my TED Talk.
For an inspirational plumber, call Mr. Rooter.
Warmer, brighter days can make you crave something to sip. Booster Juice is busting out booster mixers, the summer fixers. Cold, tasty sippers in 5 vibrant varieties. The Mango Teaser, Berry Teaser, Almighty Acai, Game Set Matcha, and Oranges and Cream. Try all 5 and brighten your day a sip at a time. And try the Cookies and Cream Booster Ball, the yummy little bundle of almond butter, maple syrup, coconut, and gluten-free cookies. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
Hey, Edmonton, ready to power up your projects with unbeatable strength and efficiency? Step into Edmonton Kubota, where our massive inventory meets all your needs. From rugged tractors and loaders to nimble mowers and utility vehicles, we've got the machines that work as hard as you do. And guess what? This month, we're rolling out exclusive deals that'll make your heart race faster than our engines. Drive down to Edmonton Kubota or visit EdmontonKubota.com to discover how we can boost your efficiency, productivity, and fun. Edmonton Kubota, powering your passion with every turn of the key.
Jason Gregor, Sean Brown, Connor Halley with you. I'm running a little bit late, so let's wheel right to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Sports and Entertainment, an innovative market leader in sports. They own the Seattle Thunderbirds, of course, the Spruce Grove Saints, the JPHL, and they've added the female Super League, developing young boys and girls who have aspirations for the future in hockey. It's Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment, as we are joined by Craig Button from TSN. Now, Bus, before we get to the draft, I know you're sitting there, you're in the Sphere. But how have you looked in the Sphere wondering, how would I look on the pickleball court on the Sphere?
The ability for everybody to be immersed in the brilliance of the play. Like, that's what I think. Honestly, it really is. It really is something to behold when you walk into the Sphere and you just see it. And I encourage everybody to turn on your TVs. It's going to be something really special.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about the draft. What do you make of, we've seen Buffalo and San Jose and now Montreal and LA, Craig. Like, it's kind of rare that you see teams trade up the day before, hours before the draft, when you don't know who's going to be available there. What do you think the reasoning is for this? Do teams have this much of a blueprint in their heads on a group of guys that they are certain are going to be available, so that's why they move up?
Yeah, and keep another one in mind. Chicago and the New York Islanders made a trade during the Stanley Cup playoffs where they moved up too, long before the draft till we arrived here on the draft. So what I think you nailed it, Jason. I think that teams have a ranking and they have a group of players, and then they're saying, okay, we want to get to this spot because we don't think a player that we really covet is going to be there, like in the case of Montreal at 26. So they've drawn a line where they say, we want to get into this area where these players we think are going to be available at 21. I think the same thing with the San Jose Sharks. My theory on the San Jose Sharks is looking for a defenseman. They have lots of really good forwards. They're going to draft Macklin Celebrini. They drafted Will Smith last year. And I think the calculation, the way I looked at it is they thought at 14, there was no way that one of those 6 defenders was going to be available at 16 or at 14 rather. So they wanted to move up to give themselves a chance to get one of those 6 in their program. Now watch, they'll go around and draft a forward, and I'll just be proven wrong again.
Well, I agree with what you said there. I think that's at least that's the theory behind it. This draft, Craig, it's, I've talked to Rick Price and a lot of other scouts, and, there's always, it's hard to say how deep a draft is because, it's all a projection, and we'll find out in 10 years how deep a draft truly is. But this year's draft, where does like that second tier, if Celebrini's in his own tier, where does the second tier start, and then maybe the third tier as far as the number of players?
Yeah, like it probably goes 2 to probably 11, 12. And then after that, I think it's a bigger number, whether that number is 20 or 25. I mean, that's the reason why you hear teams picking 35. Let's just say I'm picking a number. They go, we can't believe that player was there at 35 because they had him ranked in the top 20, 25 players. And that's just how teams rank players, evaluate players. There's always going to be players that are going to be drafted a little bit lower than the team ranked them. But here's just some straight math. Out of any draft that you're going to have, 40 to 45 players are going to play 350 games or more in the NHL. There's going to be different levels. There's going to be players that play 1,000 games. There's going to be a few stars. There may even be a superstar or two. But for the most part, that's the number. 40 to 45 players will play 350 games or more, and 10 players drafted in the first round will not have a meaningful NHL career. They'll bounce around. They will not even really make a mark in the NHL. So I'd like to tell you who they are. The NHL teams would like to tell you who they are. But the bottom line is, at the end of it is, that's what the numbers tell you. People say, we've all heard it, it's not a deep draft. Listen, the numbers are the same in every draft, relatively speaking, and it won't be any different for this draft. And I think that as you move forward through it, the top end should produce more star players than the bottom end. Like I'm talking about the first round, but we're going to see some good players come out of later in the first round, second round, third round that end up being real significant players in the NHL.
Craig, what are your thoughts on the class of 2024 Hall of Fame inductees? Is there any surprises for you?
I think, Sean, where we're at right now, I think there's so many worthy candidates for the Hockey Hall of Fame. And, we have the women hockey players now that are worthy candidates and deserving of going in the Hall of Fame. So you only have an opportunity to put 6 players in. I do believe that the builders, Colin Campbell and David Poile, fully deserving and really, worthy of the builder category. But for the 6 skaters, you have 2 female players in the 4. I really believe, Sean, that we need a catch-up year. Now, because if we just continue to move along with 6, the time dissipates and time is going to evaporate for players to be able to enjoy the induction, their families to see the recognition that is deserved in that case. So what I would like to see is 1 year where they just say, listen, we'll never catch up, so we're going to use this year as a catch-up year. And whether that's 15 players that go in, whether it's 20 players that go in, I just think that you have to get to that point and get to that, because now we're left every year. I believe that Jeremy Roenick was always a Hall of Famer. Took him 12 years. I think Alexander McGillney is a Hall of Famer. We continue to wait. I think Keith Tkachuk's a Hall of Famer. I think that ultimately, like Mike Vernon last year, like Jeremy Roenick this year, I think Keith Tkachuk and Alexander McGillney will eventually get in. But there's going to be other worthy candidates come about. So I'd like to see a catch-up year. Jennifer Botterill is another worthy candidate that should be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. But as other players are retiring and become eligible, we extend the time that those other worthy candidates, in my view, get the recognition. And so that's what I'd like to see. I mean, every year we're going to talk about who should be in or who shouldn't, why are we disappointed they get in. But that's my solution for trying to get it caught up, where worthy candidates, worthy players get their recognition at the Hockey Hall of Fame.
One last one for you, Craig. Steven Stamkos sounds like he's going to free agency. Where do you think, what's a good landing spot for him?
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I think going to free agency gives him an opportunity to explore what's out there. He did it a couple of years ago with respect to, just mere days before free agency. He signed with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Whatever was going back and forth with the terms and negotiations, I don't know that. I mean, we know that Steven Stamkos had 40 goals as a captain. He only knows the Tampa Bay Lightning. So for me, it's a situation where, like Scott Niedermayer was a New Jersey Devil, true and tried New Jersey Devil. But in 2005, he decided he was going to leave. He decided he was going to leave. He wanted to do something different. He wanted to explore a different set of experiences for him. So he went to Anaheim. And maybe Steven's in the same boat. Maybe he doesn't feel that the way that they've treated him is worth him, just signing right now. He's going to wait to see. And then he gets a chance to come back and understand, okay, that's what's out here. I think that Steven could help a lot of teams. I think the best fit for Steven, without naming a team, is a place where he can have a little bit of support. Even though he scored 40 goals, he's not the same frontline player he once was. So having some support around him would be really good. And a team that could benefit from his wisdom, his Stanley Cup winning wisdom, his winning experiences, and everything that goes with it. I think that would be a place that would be a really good fit. I mean, there'll be any number of teams interested in Steven Stamkos. And maybe he's just interested in playing somewhere where he can just go and play and he's going to be compensated very well. And maybe it's not about winning right now because he's won so much. But my belief is that Steven Stamkos, being the competitor that he is, you don't just turn off that competitive tap and all of a sudden just go play just because you're going to play. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And certainly I can't imagine a scenario where Steven Stamkos isn't wearing 91 for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Craig, enjoy the Sphere, enjoy the draft, and we will chat with you with the wrap-up next Friday.
Thank you. Have a great day.
There you go. That is Craig Button from TS. And with Saros, the biggest rumor now is that Nashville is considering, Askarov in a deal, but they would like a top 5 pick for him. I don't think that's going to happen. So, hey, shoot your shot. Nothing wrong with that. There's some rumblings that Philadelphia's tried to move up to get the number 4 pick. That obviously didn't come to fruition because usually it always costs way too much. So we'll see. You might not be any moves, but there might be some. All it takes is one, and then suddenly everything can unravel. So we're getting closer to the NHL draft. The orders, by the way, not in play today. I don't expect any trades. They did sign Calvin Pickard to a 2-year deal at $1 million AAV. That's also they did sign AHL defenseman Tim Gleason to a 2-year deal as well. Keep some depth in the organization, some veteran depth. So those are 2 signings today. Still nothing on Brown or Janmark yet, or Henrik Fogel, Desharnais. Now, as of right now, there's no deal in place, it would look like those two are probably the most likely to go to free agency. But anything can change. If all of a sudden there's another deal today or tomorrow, well, Oilers, of course, still own the rights up until, technically 10 a.m. on Monday. So we'll see. We'll come back. We got 5 questions more. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Rule number and will always prop you up. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantork.com.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League is entering its 3rd season of gameplay. The JPHL now offers academic and athletic opportunities in the 14U, 15, 17, and 18U age divisions. All JPHL games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV with a showcase-style game schedule and high level of travel and accommodations for its team, staff, and players. To learn more about why the JPHL is the fastest-growing elite hockey academy stream in Western Canada, visit juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
Boxing Week pricing is back at the Brick, and that means amazing end-of-the-year sales during summertime. Save up to 40% off mattresses and up to $700 off sectionals. Also, take up to 25% off dining and bedroom packages. Plus, from June 28th to July 1st, find specialty Boxing Weekend deals, like mattresses starting at just $149.99. Make your dream home a reality with brand name items on a budget. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
This is Paul Sir, host of the Basketball Show on Sports 1440. Every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon, we cover local, international, professional basketball right here on Edmonton's exclusive home for sports talk.
For over 65 years, Denham Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And that tradition continues with the all-new 2024 F-150. Lease one today with $1,000 down and pay just $299 bi-weekly, taxes included. That's the value you've come to expect from where cars always cost less. The F-150 $299 driveway lease, only at Denham Ford in Wetaskiwin or at denhamford.ca.
Garage Superstar.
Edmonton's newest Traeger dealer is Garage Superstore. So if you're thinking, yeah, I need a Traeger grill in my life this summer, then buy now and save up to $250, but only till July 4th. Plus, you can pay later. Ask for details. Garage Superstore is also a place for garage cabinets and other storage solutions, along with vehicle lifts, garage flooring. See their 8,000 square foot showroom with 6 full-size, fully outfitted garages.
Garage Superstar.
Southside Calgary Trail.
Does your bank do local? We do. When you bank with Vision Credit Union, you're banking with a rural Albertan cooperative that cares about the community where you live. There's no question. We actively support our rural communities at the local level through charitable donations, volunteerism, local team and event sponsorships, and by returning millions in profit shares to our members every year. Does your bank do that? We do local. Bank with Vision Credit Union. VisionCU.ca.
.448, Gregor, Brown, Halley on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. How are you? It's Positive Friday. I know Elks fans, we talk a lot about the green and gold and their inability to win a game. Like, man, they can stay competitive. There's no doubt that they can be competitive. They play just good enough to lose. So are they really good? or is it Mirage good? I think it's a fair question. Because if you're always losing, even if it's close, you're still just losing.
You don't want that to creep into your room. When you start losing and then you start to become a loser.
Yeah, it becomes...
It's not good.
A winning attitude is infectious.
Yeah.
I think a losing attitude is equally infectious.
Yeah.
Just one's the infection you want, one you don't want.
Yeah.
One's like, can you get some cream over here? Get some cream over here. You know, Brownie's younger days. Let's get to 5 questions. I'm kidding, folks. Of course, it was work, church, and home for Sean Brown. None of that stuff. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by our good friends at the Brick. And whoo, baby. Now, Brownie, this is because Brownie, there's nobody around here who likes a sale better than Sean Brown. And right now, it's their big Boxing Week summer sale that goes on up until Canada Day. And major savings. You can get 20% off outdoor furniture. Mattresses starting at $149 for a new mattress.
Oof. I need a mattress. I've had the same mattress for like 20 years.
Well, there you go, buddy. Go breaking a new one. What's happening? Hi, honey. I'm home from the Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys, question number 1. When we're back in here on Tuesday afternoon, how many total draft picks do you think the Oilers will have made, and how many unrestricted free agent signings will have been signed?
Well, they have 6 picks. I could see them trading one of their 7th rounders because someone likes to take a flyer on one, and then you get another 7th rounder next year. So I'll say that there's 5 picks at least that they make. As for now, does that include their own guys or just?
It does, yes.
Okay. Well, I think Brown and Janmark for sure. I will say 5. Yes.
5 free agent signings?
Well, dude, they've only got 7 forwards under contract. So, yeah, 5's probably low. Good. Now, that can keep like Brown and Janmark. He's including guys that you're going to re-sign. So, yes, I will say, actually, I might even say 6. 5. No, I'll stick with 5 for the first day because some of your better bargain deals, I've always said, some of the best free agent signings are done in August.
Yeah. Well, I mean, are they going to, I thought Jackson doesn't want to get too involved and they want to try and get, he does. Is this something that he wants to take on?
Well, they're going to have to, right? You can't just sit on the sidelines and wait till their GM's here. They know what they have to spend. They're not going to be shopping. They're going to be shopping in the bargain aisles, right? They're going to be the Sean Brown at Costco.
Hey,
right?
Call me up. I know a deal.
Guys, guess what? There's some chips here. We can use these on Halloween. No one's ever heard of this before.
If you're looking for a deal, yeah. No, well, you know what? Yeah, I don't see him making too big of moves. I think they'd be small moves, like you said. I think he'll wait for an actual GM to make the big splash. So I think they'll take all their picks.
All right. Question number 2 then. Who is your guess to be the next GM of the Edmonton Oilers?
You know what, man? I've dug into this. It's I think honestly, Cons, I don't have a good answer. It would just be like I could close my eyes and throw a dart at a dartboard. I have zero confidence in who's going to be the next GM of the Oilers.
Was it
like zero?
They're just at a time where they got to bring in someone that has some experience. No, that's been underneath a GM.
Yeah, I think that's what they're looking for.
You know,
yeah, they're going to look for a guy who's being an assistant GM, who's ready to kind of take on a little bit of an increased role.
Yeah. So is that like do you bring Horkoff back, or do you bring in someone like Mark Hunter?
Yeah.
Does Mark Hunter want to leave though? He's got such a good thing going on.
I think it's someone with NHL experience. I could be wrong on that, but that was the sense I got. Somebody who's been around. Like Jeff Jackson tipped his hat yesterday, not to who it was, but that they're the guys he wants to talk to. Basically, a lot of them are, still do their teams because of the draft and free agency. He'll probably have to wait till that's over. Yeah. Those are his words. So honestly, Cons, I don't know, maybe Hardy, but I looked into him. I don't know enough about him. So I was trying to connect, like, who's Jeff Jackson? Like, who is a guy he dealt with a lot? because he was an agent for such a long time, right? So I was trying to connect the dots.
I was
there.
thinking too, like, is Sherry Basson too old?
Oh, he's 84. Yeah, no chance.
Question number 3. I could ask this in a couple different ways. Who's going to be the biggest spender might be one of them, but who do you think is going to be considered the biggest winner after day 1 or day 2 of free agency?
Well, I think people will look and say, so like if Jake Gensel, like there's lots of rumblings, he's, Vancouver's going to make a big push for him. I like Jake Gensel, but I'm not in love with Jake Gensel at $9.5 million. I don't for $8 million. I'm like,
really?
Yeah, I don't like that. I think it'd be okay player. I don't think he's going, like, at best, he gives you equal value. I don't see how he exceeds value on that contract. So that's why I don't love it.
I just like the fact that he came from Pittsburgh and that organization that's won, and he's played with Crosby. The expectation.
Sure. But does that mean he's going to live up to being a $9.5 million player means he's got to be close. He's got to be at least 85-point player, probably 90 year after year after year for 8 years. I think it's really hard. So I'll say this, Cons. If Steven Stamkos goes to free agency and only signs for $6 million, whoever signs him will be the winner.
Could he go to the Leafs? I could see that.
Well, I guess
if they find a way to make a move for Marner.
Yeah.
Wow. Imagine him in that situation where.
Well, that might. I think that organization could use a leader who has a winning pedigree, because I do believe that players. It's like when you come out of junior, you've worked as hard as you can and what you're capable of to that point until you all of a sudden go to the NHL and you're like, oh my God, my workouts aren't NHL level workouts. I thought they were really good, but they're not NHL level workouts. And you got to go to NHL level workouts. And I think Steven Stamkos could come in there and say, guys, I know you think you've been working hard, but this is how you have to work hard to win a cup.
Yeah.
So I think that could help them. That would help lots of teams. Like I think Duncan Keith helped Edmonton.
Yeah.
Question number 4 for you guys. When do the Elks pick up win number 1 on the season? Their next game is July 14th, followed by July 19th against the Red Blacks. If not there, Ticats, Rough Riders, Lions, and so on.
I think they'll win their next game, actually, against Ottawa. The Red Blacks, they're not that good. They've given up a lot. So I will say they win. And honestly, they got to win a home game at some point. So I think Ottawa is their best bet.
And I think the desperation has to be on an all-time.
Yeah, and it's a bye week. Come on.
Yeah, it has to be on an all-time high. So I would agree with you, but obviously, I mean, the quarterback plays such a big part in it. And until you get your quarterback playing the way he's supposed to play with the experience and why they brought him in here, they need a win. They need a win for morale.
Final question for you guys today on the Hypothetical Friday edition. Since it is Canada Day weekend, if you could go visit any place in our fine country, where would you go?
I'd probably go back to Halifax again. I really enjoyed ourselves when my wife and I went there. Obviously, it was in the winter. Anytime you can go back and visit anywhere in Canada in the summer, I think it'd be just that much better. And I'd love to go down to Prince Edward Island and kind of tour around a little bit, but that was by far the biggest surprise for me. Just what a beautiful city, food, atmosphere, and to be able to go back in the summer, especially down in that water area there, just looked unbelievable.
Cons?
I have been there in the summer, Brownie, and I think you should go do that one. For me, I've been out east, been out west, prairies. Yeah, I've seen enough. I'm thinking maybe Yellowknife. Maybe go up north and
be light out.
Get out there, exactly. Have one of those long days. I think that'd be pretty cool to see. So I think Yellowknife would be something I'd like to go check out at some point.
I'm going to the Maritimes without question. I've seen so many pictures. I've talked to so many people. We'd have a built-in tour guide. TR would take us around.
Oh God, you imagine?
I might need a break from his touring after a while. But no, I would honestly, I'd want to go to the Maritimes and I'd want to visit all 4 of them. I think it'd be fantastic. And go in the summertime. It's supposed to be an amazing place. And there's they have such a great reputation of being ultra friendly. I think it'd be like, I know people that have toured there and they said it was like one of the best holidays they've had. Like, I think at times in Canada, we get focused on, we have to go outside of the country. Well, and I get that it's cheaper to fly, which is horrible, but nonetheless, there's some unreal places in our own country that we've never been. So that's what I always promised myself. The next time on going like a long holiday, I'm going in the country. Like I might, I've actually looked into renting I call it a Winnebago, but it's a motorhome.
That would be unbelievable.
And going on a 3-week cross-country tour to start.
Yeah, that's
like
my
I wouldn't
dream.
get that far across, but even if it's halfway, just kind of visit a lot of places you normally wouldn't go to.
That is actually my dream. I would love to be able to do that across Canada.
Oh, well, your kids are almost old enough. You could get on out there and do it.
Well, we're gonna think about a trip going to somewhere.
You're gonna have to get your back fixed first, though.
I'll find a way. I ran into Brent Sake there on what was it, game 6?
Don't let him fix your back.
And but he was like, there was talk. He's like, hey, listen, I might be going down to Florida, and if anyone knows Brent Sake, that guy is willing to do anything and have a good time. And I was like, man, that would be a trip, but I guess a little kind of like TR, like, I don't know if my liver could handle a trip like that with either one of those guys.
You got to pace yourself with those two. Yeah, definitely have to pace yourself. Get some naps in for about a month.
Yeah. Could you imagine? I don't know how those guys did it. I was following them a little bit on Twitter, and it's just like, I drink once and I need a month off. Like they're just putting back to back to back. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Wow. Like to me, I'm like, it's kind of like a young man's or young woman's game that can do it a little bit more. I think the older you are, the harder it gets. So
yeah.
But I did it for a long time, so I don't really have much interest anymore. Like I can do one day and that's fine. But even then, it's one day's a rarity.
Yeah. I get the booze blues.
Yeah. So
I hate feeling
I don't feel, that's why I'm very like, I'm a big 1 for 1, 1 drink, 1 water. And that is my recipe for success.
See, that's the key. That's what I don't do.
Yeah,
I wake up with leg cramps.
Yeah. So Brownie, will the Oilers make a trade this weekend at the draft?
Will they make a trade? I'm trying to think of who could they trade.
That's not just draft picks. I want to clarify that.
Yeah.
That's kind of an easy answer.
No, I don't think they're going to make a trade.
All right. Brownie, have a good weekend.
You too.
Talk to you next Friday. Let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by the Hockey Heroes Society. And they are having their annual golf tournament in conjunction with NHL alumni. They come in, they have a gala dinner on the September 6th. They have the golf tournament September 7th. So get your foursomes. You can register at hockeyheroesgame.com. All the money raised helps out Hockey Heroes Society. They get kids playing hockey, kids with the physical disabilities and autism and stuff that they never would have had a chance to play. It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing, life-changing event for those kids. And you can be part of it and have a great time at the golf tournament, hockeyheroesgame.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Edmonton Oilers will sign goaltender Calvin Pickard to a 2-year contract extension with an AAV of $1 million. Pickard appeared in 23 games last season with the Oilers in the regular season, plus 3 appearances in the postseason. Just about to get going at the NHL Draft in Vegas. Had to move earlier today. The Canadians acquiring the 21st overall pick from the LA Kings for picks 26, 57, and 198. Tampa Bay Lightning and defenseman Victor Hedman closing in on a contract extension. Hedman was hitting into the final season of an 8-year contract worth $63 million. Also, the Philadelphia Flyers bought out forward Cam Atkinson ahead of the first day of the draft. Atkinson, 35, had 1 year remaining on his 7-year deal. That would have paid him $5.875 million this season. From the association, guard Emmanuel Quickly intends to sign a 5-year, $175 million deal to stay in Toronto. Quickly was acquired from Toronto from the Knicks on December 30th, along with Canadian R.J. Barrett for OG Anunoby. And it looks like Canadian Andrew Wiggins will not be a part of the men's Olympic team this summer, according to Doug Smith of the Toronto Star. The Golden State Warriors playing hardball with Wiggins while looking to trade him, preventing him from representing his country in Paris. Week 4 in the CFL rolls on tonight. You got Toronto taking on Montreal in a battle of the unbeatens. That gets going at 5:30. Tomorrow, Winnipeg's in Calgary. Then on Sunday, Ottawa hosts Hamilton. The Jays are in action. They'll take on the Yankees in about 5 minutes' time. 3 games underway right now. Phillies, Marlins, Nationals, Rays, and Rockies, White Sox. All games are scoreless. Copa America right now. Colombia leads Costa Rica 1-0. That's at the 45th minute. Later tonight, you'll have Brazil taking on Paraguay from Las Vegas. And in the WNBA, we're 30 minutes away from tip-off in Connecticut as the Sun hosts the Dream. Then at 8 o'clock, the Sparks travel to Phoenix to take on the Mercury. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Alan Mitchell, host of The Lowdown with Low Tide. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Hi, Jason Gregor for Volvo of Edmonton. This summer, lease a new 2024 Volvo XC60 with 0% finance, or save up to $65 on select models for qualified 11 customers. Plus a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty with all demo vehicles. And if you're thinking hybrid, take $6,000 off all 2024 new and demo XC60 Recharge plug-in models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. 1205 101st Street Southwest, or visit volvocarsedmonton.com.
What's cracking at Cattail? Maybe you've got the next tiger on your hands. Cattail Crossing offers young golfers Operation 36, a program to improve their growing skill set with other golfers their age. To register, email proshop@cattailcrossing.ca. At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers, and that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
I'm Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And I'm Zach Hyman. And when we're not making juicy sweet passes or having my goals disallowed, we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling. You know, guys used to call me a plumber, and now they call you an AC repairman. Nice.
Hey, guys, you're not here to fix air conditioners. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well.
Okay. Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Neo and Jason are friends. Hey, buddy.
What's up, buddy?
Except when they talk hockey. Edmonton had all those first overall picks, and they still can't win.
Yeah, but we still beat you. Battle of Alberta champs, baby.
But ask them who makes the best beef jerky in Alberta, and they'll tell you.
Wheelhawk beef jerky.
It might be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Pick up some Wheelhawk beef jerky today in Leduc, Spruce Grove, and West Edmonton Mall.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Scott here from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. It's our biggest sale of the year. This month, every new and used vehicle we have has been marked down and priced to sell. We have Ram trucks that are 25% off, brand new trucks, and we have hundreds to choose from. We have 0% financing up to 72 months on Grand Cherokee. Even though we know our prices are great, every single offer will be considered. We will work to get you the best financing terms. We will pay top dollar for your trade. We will do what it takes to earn your business. It's our biggest sale of the year, and it's on now at St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge.
The ATV Classic is returning to Northern Bear Golf Club.
An international field of professionals will battle it out on their path towards the PGA Tour.
$15 gets you access to the tournament, or upgrade your ticket for premium greenside viewing.
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids aged 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATV Classic at Northern Bear Golf Club.
June 27th to 30th.
Get your tickets at atvclassic.com.
Summer's just getting started. There's still plenty of time to sign up and save with Fairways to Heaven. Our next stop is Monday, July 8th. The gorgeous Goose Hummock Golf Resort, now officially sold out. But great news, golfers, tee times still remain for the other exceptional courses, including Silver Creek, Cattail Crossing, Westlock, Whitetail Crossing, and Leduc. So hurry, go to K97fairways.ca, where you'll also find details on this season's grand prize, a $1,500 prepaid visa from the Golf Cart people. Everyone can enter to win, and everyone's invited to stop by and say hi when we play the Goose on July 8th. Book now at K97fairways.ca. Fairways to Heaven.
Welcome back as you make your way home on a positive Friday. You made it through the week. You survived after a devastating start to the week. The Oilers losing 2-1 in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. You've had a few days to mourn, be frustrated. Now, put your sights on next season. The draft, of course, basically starts unofficially the next year. Of course, we have qualifying offers that are due this weekend. You have buyout period that ends on Sunday, and then free agency begins on Monday. Monday. Will the Oilers be big players? You never know. Steven Stamkos is out there. Would he come to Edmonton on a value deal? Probably not, but you never know. Hey, that's a guy who I think there'll be lots of teams interested in. So I'm curious where he will want to go. But if you're Steven Stamkos, chance to play with Draisaitl or McDavid, it's intriguing. But older player, Matthias Ekholm did admit that, for him, it took him a while to get used to the travel for sure. He's used to it now, but he says it is definitely a difference. So although Tampa Bay is probably the worst travel, them in Florida, of any of the Eastern Conference teams, no question. They don't really have anybody close. So that's, I guess, the one thing. We'll see. It is a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Thanks as always for tuning in on Sports 1440, watching on Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook. We appreciate it. As we get to the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. And they just want to say thank you to the Oilers for a great run, for all of their employees and fans who jumped on board and enjoyed it, made a lot of fun at GS Construction. As we welcome in from Rogers Sportsnet, Mark Spector. Spec, how you doing?
Doing great, man. It's a beautiful day. Got a long weekend coming. Let's go, baby. I'm ready for it. How about you?
Yeah, I love this time of the year, and it's interesting. Usually the draft's coming up. With the orders going as deep as they did, everything seems to be like, oh wow, it's here. So the draft is here, and then we'll see the orders. How Pickard? I guess let's start there. What do you make of the Pickard 2-year contract with a $1 million one-way AAV?
That's an excellent contract for a guy that's proven himself last year to be plenty of backup goalie. I think we're pretty happy with Skinner as your number one. I think that Pickard has shown you he could certainly play the 25, 30 games you need him to play. He came in, played 2 tough, important playoff games last year and did not disappoint in any way. So, what's I always forget Skinner's salary. What's he making? 3.6?
2.6.
2.6. Yes. I mean, you got your 2 goalies for 3.6. And not a bad tandem. Like, Skinner's a good goalie. You're spending 3.6 on your goalies. That's outstanding.
Yeah, you do have to. You have to remember they have $5 million Campbell. Now, if they buy him out, then it's 4.7 for your goalies because he's 1.1, which is still fine, and that's eventually I think what it's going to be. I don't see. I know they'll try to trade him, but if they trade him, it's actually more because then it's 2.5 added to the 3.6, which is 6.1, which still isn't crazy for your goaltenders, especially when Skinner's. It's not like you went and got 2 journeyman veterans and you're hoping one of them can play well. I think Stuart Skinner's proven he's a really young guy. And there's still lots of room to improve for him.
Oh, no question, man. Are you kidding? This is a guy that's in his second year in the NHL, outplayed Ottinger and went neck and neck with Bobrovsky the whole way. Better than whoever LA had, in their nets. And I don't know why you'd ask for more than what Skinner's done for you. As a second year NHL player, he's got room to grow. He's not making much money. The orders are, I get it. The mistake is the Campbell contract, and you can't discount that for sure. But in terms of guys that you're going to play next year, you got good goaltending, and it's costing you $3.6 million. Not many teams in the league could say that.
Yeah, no, it's fair. And you know what? He'll have to continue to develop, and I don't see any reason why you'd think he wouldn't, based on how he's performed since given the opportunity to be a starter. So it's good.
Yep.
The Brown, Janmark, like how confident? So if I go through the guys, Brown, sign or does he test the waters?
Let's see. I'm gonna say Brown signs. But before you do this, like, to me, I think Jeff Jackson has a priority of and I'm not sure who his highest guy is, but my point would be this, Jay. Let's say he wanted to sign Henrique. If he got Henrique, that means that he may not be able to sign Brown. You know what I'm saying? So I think that there's a hierarchy here, and he's going to start at the top. And I mean, I would ask you this: who do you think is his most important UFA? Who's the guy at the top of his list
amongst the group? Well, see, I'm going to look at value players, and that's why I think it's Janmark and Brown, and I might even slide Brown ahead because now that he's fully healed, right? Like, he's a guy that I think at $1 million, and I think he's potential to score 15 goals. I don't really have a big shock in that. He's done it multiple times, done higher. And so I like Henrique, but Henrique might cost you 3.5 or 4 mil. And, at the end of it, how many more points is he going to get? Brown's a really good penalty killer. I might say Brown and Janmark because of the role they play and how little they're going to cost.
Yeah, that's fair. The other side of it is, if you have to spend, let's say, get Henrique for 3.5 as your third line center, he would be the best third line center that the Edmonton Oilers have had in years.
Fair.
Right?
Yep.
I would go back to Mike Pekka. So, a third line center, I hold huge value on that position. A good, proper third line center that can win draws, kill penalties, create a little bit of offense, check when he has to, move up to the number 2 spot when someone gets injured for a few games. So to me, I'm not so sure that Henrique's not my priority. I really don't know if he's going to make $5 million, you can't have him.
No,
I don't mind. You can pay your third line center 3.5. I wouldn't want to pay him more than that. Would you?
No, well, I just don't think they can afford it. It's, how they're going to fill out the rest of the roster. Like, I get that you have bargain deals, but I don't know if every one can be a bargain deal. We'll see. But that's fair. Like, I think Fogle and Desharnais, I think both of them, when you look at their age and everything else, I think they probably owe it to themselves just to see what's out there. I think Vinny Desharnais could get a 4-year deal at $2 to $2.5 million. I really do. And I think internally the Oilers have discussed a number like that, and it didn't come to fruition yet. So it doesn't mean they can. Like, that's why there's still time for things to change here, and that's why if all of a sudden the Oilers make a trade, and shed some salary cap at the draft, then maybe, which I think is a slim chance, but still there's possibility. Then maybe that changes their approach, and they can circle back on some guys that they'd like to keep. Because I do believe that, if you ask Fogle and Desharnais straight out, they'll be like, hey, if all things are even, I'd rather stay in Edmonton.
Sure, that is fair. And Jackson has already said to their agents, look, we've decided on what our number is. If I can pay you that number, I will. Give me till July 1st. Okay? Give me till Sunday. And now he's working the phones, trying to clear the commensurate amount of salary cap. I mean, I'm seeing rumors out there, and they're only rumors. Sure, he's trying to trade Campbell rather than buy him out. I don't doubt that. That. Is he trying to trade Kane and Ceci? Sure. If you could trade Kane or Ceci, I think you'd do it because they both make pretty good money and they're both replaceable. So I'm not so sure you're going to be able to dump 3 guys that way, Jay. Like, making one of those moves in a trade, you're going to have to attach draft picks to that person. I'm not sure you got enough draft picks to trade all 3 of those guys.
Yeah, unless, and if you are, and the thing about Ceci, to me, if you're trading Ceci, then you have to have Desharnais signed, because all I do is look at the free agent market on right defenders, and it's not very deep. So the last thing you want is, we traded Ceci and we freed up cap space to use it on what? Right? Like, that's the concern for me. Like, I get that Ceci, if he's your third pair right defenseman, it's too expensive. I totally understand it. I think Ceci's a lot better than some people give him credit for, and that's fine. But I understand the cap world. So if I can trade Ceci and then I sign Desharnais and he's $1 million cheaper, well, that just makes sense to me. So
it does make sense.
Yeah. But so that's why you could still contemplate and look at it that way. So we'll see if it comes to fruition. But I don't trade Ceci and then just plan on losing and not having Desharnais, because there's not a lot of other right D defensemen that I think are better. They'll be cheaper, but I'm not sure they're better.
No, I would say to you that Jackson and Desharnais' agent would have a deal here. He would. I mean, Desharnais can't sign with anybody before July 1st. Anybody else? And I think it works the other way for me. If I'm Jackson, before I'm trading away CC, I got to have that deal with Desharnais that if I can move CC, you're signing with me. Here's our number. We both agreed on it.
Right.
But don't be watching me trade CC away and changing your mind here. So it's a two-way street on that deal. Desharnais would get a little bit more money because CC's gone. And it works for the Oilers, works for everybody. But I don't think there's a question mark in Jackson's mind if he moves CC. He knows the minute he moves CC, he's signing, he's putting down the phone and picking up the phone for Desharnais' agent immediately.
Well, yeah, you'd hope that was the case. For certain.
They make deals out there, Jay. Everyone's making a deal with each other here.
Yeah. No, the deals have been made. There's no doubt about that. Mark Spector joins us. Spec, the draft itself, celebrating went to San Jose. No shock. I was kind of Captain Obvious one. There's been some pre-draft trades, which is kind of interesting. I wonder if this is a new trend in the NHL or not, because usually we'd wait till draft day when all of a sudden, okay, we're going to move from 14 to 11 because the guy we want is there. But we saw Buffalo move up, and we've seen Montreal move up from 26 to 21, and we saw Chicago do the same thing earlier. Move down. So it's kind of a different draft to start. Do you see any names? Do you think there's a big name traded this weekend?
I mean, I don't want to say this weekend. Certainly tonight. People in my many years covering this thing, if I had $1 for every time a team said they were shopping their first round pick, but then I had to give it back for every time it never got moved, right, I wouldn't have any money. Right? There's always so much talk. Oh, we're looking to shop our pick here. And you know what? We saw some moves today that basically just involve draft picks, right?
Yeah.
Not players. So I guess I come from the show me state here, Jay. We haven't seen many big moves involving contracted players at the draft in recent years, or at least I can't think of any. I don't know. I think you might see some smaller moves of the CC range, smaller guys, but I don't think you'll see any big trades in the draft. What do you think?
Well, I don't know why, but Utah has me interested just because you know what? They finally got an owner. I think, he was there today talking about all the season tickets they want. And, there is something about making a splash, not going crazy and just wasting money, but just, getting some excitement. Hey, we just added this guy. Most of their fans aren't diehard hockey fans yet. So any move can be like, hey, we acquired this guy. Unreal. Look at our GM. He's waking and shaking. Right. So that could be exciting. But, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them do something there.
Right. What about Marner or Kadri or someone big, right?
Yes, Calgary. I don't know if they're going to tear down everything, but Marner is an interesting one to me. Now, when I was in Florida, had a conversation. Well, I was standing there and there was people talking, and I know Brad, and so I was listening. He knew I was listening, but I wasn't really saying much, to be bluntly honest. I was more so there as an observer, and he was pretty open about, I don't have to trade Mitch Marner, and that, but are they listening? Yes. And so, then I talked to another agent and a few other people around the league who think that, so if you're a tree leaving, what you need to do if you're going to trade Mitch Marner is go to these other teams and negotiate what a deal would look like. And then say, okay, Mitch, here's 2 or 3 teams. These are the deals I have. You don't tell them, but I've got a deal here to this team, this team, and this team. You don't tell him who's getting traded for. It's none of his business. And then you see if he's willing to waive his no movement clause. And it's funny because you talk to one person, they're like, oh, I think he would waive it. And then others like, well, no, he's not going to waive it. And I'm like, if it's that open that they want to trade you or really considering it, then why wouldn't you waive it? I guess that's my thought.
Well, what makes that deal so complicated is if, let's use Vegas for an example. They land all the big fish. Marner's Vegas is giving you more for Marner if they know they can sign him.
Yes.
So
and you can't sign him after July 1st, right? You can do it before, but you can't after.
Well, that's it. I mean, no, if they traded Marner today to Vegas could sign him. He'd be their property, right?
No, but you can't. He has 1 year left, right? You can't.
Oh, I see what you said in that regard. Yes. Okay. But my point, I guess, would be once he becomes your property,
right?
You can figure
You can
out
negotiate it and not announce it. Yes,
you can negotiate it, not announce it. So that's why those trades are so complicated, because there's Marner, who I'm not signing with you, so you're worth this much. There's Marner, I am signing with you, so now you're worth that much. There's a guy with all these no trade clause, and there's all these teams he may go to, may not want to go to. It's a complicated trade Marner, man, and I'll be surprised if it happens this summer.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy. I think that's totally valid, but I think they're gonna look to see if it's possible. I think that's fair to say.
Well, they should. They got to change things. I'm when I talk about Toronto, I don't really care as much about which players they keep. I mean, Nylander and Matthews are their best two guys out of those big four, but they just have to change. There just has to be a changing out of people and players. You can't, you just can't run back the same old band and miss the second round every single year. I don't care who they trade. They got to trade somebody out of Toronto. They got to start a fresh approach here, don't they?
Yeah, I would agree. And yeah, that's totally valid. Spec, enjoy it. We will chat with you next week.
Monday's a holiday. Is the station running on Monday?
We will. We are starting at 10 a.m. So yeah, if something big happens, keep your phone on.
Okay, sounds good, brother.
There you go. That's Mark Spector, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. When we come back, a lot of people. It's already pick number 2, and all the Demidov is going to Chicago. Well, that did not happen. So is he automatically going to go to Anaheim? We'll find out. So 2 picks in through the NHL draft. No surprise, but Lev Shinov is now a member. He's a defenseman. He's playing in North America at Michigan, and now he is a member of the Chicago Blackhawks. So that's 2 picks, 1 forward, 1 defense. The Ducks are on the clock. Take a quick break. We'll come back. Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, coming to you live in the eWell studio, EWEL.ca. They are your partner in power, supplying all sorts of everything that you need power related to the City of Champions. It's EWEL.ca.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
Join NHL alumni at the Hockey Heroes Charity Alumni Weekend in Whitecourt on September 6th and 7th. A Friday night banquet featuring live entertainment, auctions, and a great meal, followed by a charity golf tournament Saturday at the Whitecourt Golf and Country Club. Visit hockeyheroesgame.com to register.
Hey Leduc, it's me, Grant Fedor from Leading Edge Physiotherapy. What you might not know is that I started practicing physio here in Leduc more than 23 years ago. In those years since, I haven't forgotten the kind and welcoming people that trusted me then. It feels great to be back. But I know we have to live up to our promise, and that's to live up to our name. This means bringing a leading-edge focus on our environments, technology, communities, and the people who will care for you, like Graham Raymond and Amanda McIsaac, 2 locals who want to make a difference in your life. We're now open in Leduc. Learn more about us at leadingedgephysio.com.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the Cheesy Burger Trio or choose between the large Cheesy Burger Pizza for $18.99, Cheesy Burger Papadilla for $9.99, and Bacon Cheesy Burger Papa Bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some Cheesy Burger Pizza at Papa John's.
Late night sports, you got it. This is Jason Smith from Fox Sports. You can hear my show weeknights from 9 to midnight on Sports 1440. Mike Harmon joins me as we talk about what happened today in the world of sports, all right here on Sports 1440.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions, assemble.
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Energy team reporting. Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values. Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Your Edmonton Riverhawks celebrate inclusivity at Love Wins Pride Night this Saturday, featuring Pride Tape, Party Queen drag performers, community leaders, and the 2024 Pride Jersey Auction. Get your ticket to fun and watch the Hawks play at gohawks.ca. excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Boxing Week pricing is back at the Brick, and that means amazing end-of-year sales during summertime. Save up to 40% off mattresses and up to $700 off sectionals. Also, take up to 25% off dining and bedroom packages. Plus, from June 28th to July 1st only, find specialty Boxing Weekend deals like mattresses starting at just $149.95. Make your dream home a reality with brand name items on a budget. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
The ATB Classic is returning to Northern Bear Golf Club.
An international field of professionals will battle it out on their path towards the PGA Tour.
$15 gets you access to the tournament or upgrade your ticket for premium greenside viewing.
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids age 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATB Classic at Northern Bear Golf Club.
June 27th to 30th.
Get your tickets at atbclassic.com.
Experience the future of car shopping at Windermere Chrysler. The floor-to-ceiling windows in our stunning new showroom bathe every sleek model in natural light. But that's not all. While you relax in our customer lounge, peek through the unique viewing window into the service area. Watch our expert team at work, ensuring your vehicle is in top form. Plus, every service appointment includes a complimentary tire and wheel alignment analysis and a full car wash and vacuum. The choice is clear.
It's Windermere.
Visit windermeredodge.ca.
Well, the Anaheim Ducks, Beckett, Seneca. That's the first Beckett drafted. My son will be fired up. Did you see his reaction? It was pretty sweet. He was just kind of shocked sitting in the crowd. I don't think he thought he was going to go there, but good for him. So the goes third overall. Now, remember, the Ducks, they took Carlson last year, and a lot of people were like, what are they doing? But hey, here's Seneca. He, of course, played for the Oshawa Generals this past season. Big 6'2" center iceman. Had 27 goals, 68 points, and then in the postseason showed up pretty well with 22 points in 16 games as like a 17-year-old. Well, I guess he turned 18 in January, but 17-year-old year. So, no, good for him. Quite a moment. Mom and Dad, Mom, the tears start coming. Dad's pretty pumped up, as they should be. That's a huge moment for anybody at the draft, whether you get drafted first overall, 15th overall, 150th overall. It's always exciting, and you do it in the sphere there. Good for him. So now there's lots of talk that Columbus's pick was open for business, Connor Halley, and now we'll see what comes of it. There was lots of people who said there was interest in it, so we'll see if now with him being available, him being Demidov, if that changes it, or are teams leery of him? Is this to me looks like maybe a situation that we saw a few years ago, and I know our next guest knows all about the drafts, but Michkov, right? A lot of people thought Michkov was the second best player in the draft, but because of his contract status in Russia, although it looks like, a few years later, that's not a problem. But, we'll kind of see how that goes here. So we'll find out. But I'm never one to rip on a pick just because people didn't have Beckett Seneca going number 3. Doesn't mean the Ducks don't know. The Ducks have had a pretty good history of drafting, and that Carlson pick last year, early on, it looked pretty good. Pretty good. Let's get to the oil report brought to you by Volvo Cars, Edmonton.com. They are Canada's #1 Volvo dealership. 13-time Excellence Award winner for sales and service. Not only going to get a great deal and great prices on any of the new XC models, recharge plug-in hybrids, but you're going to get great service all the time. It's VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. As Alan Mitchell, a.k.a. Low Tide, the host of the Lowdown, noon to 2, also will be hosting Free Agent Frenzy on Monday at 10 a.m. LT, how you doing?
I'm good. That Seneca pick, he's big, strong, skilled, and he had a hell of a playoff. So he probably moved up list late. But internally, my guess is that a lot of teams would have had him higher than maybe they would have earlier on, because he had a big playoff, and he's a very large. And if you just saw the Stanley Cup playoffs, big pivots who can make plays and score are pretty valuable.
Oh yeah. No, 100%. There was lots of different. Everybody's going to have their own ideas, and I always try to remind people just because the public guys have somebody ranked somewhere, if it's 2, 3, 4 spots different, I don't care. Now, if you get to Yesenina Namaki when he's rated in the 80s, now you might be onto a problem. But someone else has guys up or down. I don't think it's a huge difference there. But not a lot of people had him in their top 5. Something didn't happen. I'm trying to look where Butts had him 16th on his latest board, but we'll see where it goes. So the Ducks obviously really like him. No surprise, I don't think or major surprise at 1-2. What's your thoughts, Al, on the Oilers? So I'll ask everybody, getting everybody's feeling. We have listeners text in, and I asked them the question. Of the 5 free agents, and I'm saying Brown, Janmark, Henrique, Fogle, and Desharnais, I'm not including Perry or Gagne, but out of those 5, how many are Oilers come Monday?
I'll say 2. I'll say Brown and Janmark. And I think Henrique would be my first choice. I just don't know if they can afford him, Jason. And I know a lot of people were disappointed at the trade deadline because it wasn't Toffoli, but I felt at the time, said at the time, and believed strongly that Henrique was the right guy. And somebody said the other day, well, they gave up a first round for Carrick, but this is the point completely.
No,
Henrique
was the first rounder.
Yeah, Henrique was exactly what they need. I mean, exactly what they needed. And so when you are looking at free agency now, if they could afford to do it, like let's just say they could afford to offload, Jack Campbell in a deal, or I don't think Evander Kane's going anywhere. But if you could find some money, then I think Henrique would be number 1. But failing that, then I do think that you're probably looking at, at Connor Brown and Matthias Janmark, bringing them back.
Okay. Calvin Pickard, what do you make of the deal?
I think it's a good deal. The Oilers have a goaltender who clearly, based on all reports, is a really good teammate, is content with his role, has no issues with stepping into the breach when required, and he's a really good teammate, clearly. So. To me, that was the one thing I will say is I would like to see Olivier Rodrigue maybe get a look sometime during the year, but I'm not like, I think Stuart Skinner really showed a lot this year, and I think Calvin Pickard did too. And the Oilers do have some areas that they need to address, and certainly you want to be able to come back with a stronger team, and maybe you have to make a deal at the deadline for goaltending. But as of right now, I think the 1-2 combination with Rodrigue in the minors, maybe looking for a call up, or if there's an injury issue, he could come up to play a little bit. They might draft a goalie, but I think their goaltending depth chart at the pro level is good right now.
Yeah, well, Rodrigue's got a .908 career save percentage in the AHL. I think he's going to have to show more. I think they gotta let him be a full-time starter, and then find out from there what he is in the American League. Right? Is that Caden Lidstrom that just went 4th, Connor Halley, to Columbus? Yeah. Oh, he is a hell of a player for the Medicine Hat Tigers, man. I love that kid. Oh my goodness. First time I saw him, I was just like, who is that guy? Like, he was so exciting to watch. Big, strong power forward for the Columbus Blue Jackets, who did not trade their pick. So yeah, I wonder if Demidov is the new Michkov. Ala, let's switch gears quickly here to the, I guess, so if those are the 2, then do you see any free agents that do you think the Oilers should target July 1st?
It
that are
depends on money,
realistic.
like-
that are realistic.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like Brett Pesce, but I don't think they can afford him. I mean, the top end isn't there, and then you've got to wait and see what's there. Maybe 3 or 4 days after the beginning of free agency, and that's I think where the Oilers will make their moves, and you wonder how aggressive they'll be with all the other things going on. I think they'll secure their own free agents that they want to keep. Might look at a right defenseman. Matthias Ekholm had a partner in Nashville, young player, can't remember his name, but he's not terribly expensive. That's somebody they might reach out and get.
Fabro?
But I think, yeah, no, it's not Fabro. It's the other one. Anyway.
Carrier?
I don't. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that the Edmonton Oilers are. I think they're going to be, unless there's a trade out there that we're not seeing. Like I keep hearing from various sources that the target is DeBrusk or whomever. That would suggest to me that they have to move Campbell or Kane or something.
Yes.
Unless there's something like that in the works, I think it's going to be relatively quiet and lower end because they want to secure the players that they have, and they've also got a little bit of. They can do some business later on in the year too. There's going to be the first blush free agents are all going to be out of Edmonton's price range anyway.
Yeah, you might be right on that. Yeah, they're like I don't see them going big game hunting. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. I don't see how that's plausible at this stage of the game. So we'll have to see. But I look at the Oilers and to me they need to find a few guys who can be cheaper contracts, Al, because they're on value deals, because they're veteran guys who kind of want to, reestablish themselves somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the
like Steve Stais.
Yeah. Like Thomas Tatar, I still wouldn't, on a 1 year show me deal. I would it's kind of like Jonathan Drouin. I think Thomas Tatar has the skill to play with skilled players, right? And you can try it out. If it doesn't work, it's not that expensive, and you can upgrade at the trade deadline. Those are some of the deals. There's just not a lot of defensemen on the free agent market that are in the price range for the Edmonton Oilers.
And I think Desharnais is one of them. That's the I would be very interested in getting Desharnais back. I don't know if they can. It depends on we all on my blog. Everybody talked all winter about Desharnais will sign for 1.5, and I'm like, there's just no way, guys. That's not going to happen.
No,
but. I don't. What's the price point? If he shops around and there's not, as much interest as I think there will be, maybe they can get him back here. I mean, I'd like to see that. I think Broberg emerged as a guy who is going to play more, but having Desharnais around with his ability to penalty kill and do other things, that would be a nice get, I think.
Oh yeah, 100%. The Elks, Al. I outlined it earlier in my show. I thought last night, now Bethel Thompson was very good the week before in Toronto, but last night, I honestly thought the play from their quarterback cost them the game. He missed 2 passes that are easy passes. One that for sure in the early 3 minutes into the third quarter, that pass to Cobb right over his head, that's a touchdown all day, every day. And that's a throw he knows he can make. And then he missed Mitchell with 2 minutes to go. They had multiple time count violations. To me, last night, I thought the veteran quarterback looked like the inexperienced quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also think that their teams do this. Losing teams do this. And it's a fine line. I think they could have won every game they've been in, and the numbers tell you that's true. But they keep finding a way. And Bethel Thompson is a veteran. He really needed to be the leader there. And I'm not burying him. It's early in the season. But I think this team is miles better than their record right now. And they've just got to win one game. I think they could easily go on a winning streak here, just around the corner. And the CFL is early enough in the year that we know that there's no panic or anything. But it is frustrating watching them, Jason. I was swearing at the television last night, and I try not to swear and get all upset about it. But these are winnable games, and they're just blowing it.
Oh yeah, it's. Last night, I thought was was the worst loss of the season for sure. That was against a BC team that I thought was beatable last night. without question. And they didn't make it happen. So, we'll see where it goes from there. Al, have yourself a great weekend. We'll chat with you Monday, 10 a.m. for the free agent frenzy.
I can't wait for it. I'm hoping that we see a little bit of activity from the Oilers, but I know we'll see a hell of a lot of activity at Monday morning at 10 o'clock, and we'll be live on the radio, and it's going to be a blast. Today was tough, man. There was a lot to talk about. You got the draft at least, because it's like the calm before the storm, but it'll get rolling here right away.
Oh, yeah, no, there's lots going on. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks, Al. That's
All right, bud.
Al Mitch, LK Low Tide. He'll be on Monday, Free Agent Frenzy at 10 a.m. Cons, is that Celine Dion?
Oh, yeah, that is Celine Dion.
Oh, she's trying to turn his TV off right now. Oh, my God. It's just, who is she walking out with? You know?
That I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It might have been I'm not sure.
No, I don't know who it was. They're holding hands. I don't know if it's son or was it boyfriend. I don't know. But it wasn't Strutty. That's all I know. It wasn't Strutty. Quick break. We'll come back. Wrap things up on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
What a season. What a ride. Congratulations on an incredible season from GS Construction. Whether you're a laborer, pipe layer, or pipe layer's helper, lead hand, operator, top man or woman, or water and sewer foreman, GS Construction has room for you on their team. GS Construction, celebrating 50 years of laying the groundwork of Edmonton and communities throughout Alberta. Let's get to work. Get started today at gsconstruction.ca.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada, with sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
You got a spot. A lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
The sports world never clocks out. Neither do we. Sports 1440 has you covered with Fox Sports tonight after 9 and all weekend long. So when you're ready to head home, we're warming up again. Sports 1440, bringing you an all-star performance every day.
Rule number 33. White shirts attract Stampede Mustard like magnets. Maybe just bring a spare. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules, and if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
0% for 60 months. I'm not kidding. Where? Wolf GMC Buick. And it's GMC's Adventure Calls event. Pick out a new 2024 Sierra with finance rates as low as 0% for up to 60 months. If you're a Costco member, you get another $1,200 off purchase price on any 2024 in-stock Sierra. We're talking half tons, 3/4 tons, even 1 tons. If you'd rather an SUV, we've got low lease payments and an awesome selection on GMC Terrain. So get in today and get your adventure on. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Move Water is your one-stop shop for all things water. From freshwater to wastewater, we've got the pumps and solutions to keep your water moving where it matters most.
Move Water, your water solution experts.
Visit movewater.ca today.
Before every big interview, every big presentation, every big moment, I've always looked in the mirror and put on my game face. But lately, my eyes look tired, my brow looks old, and I'm starting to think it's game over.
Stop thinking and start seeing Dr. Vance Elliott for skin refreshing treatments designed to give you a fresh and natural appearance.
He didn't make me look weird. No, he gave me back my game face.
Book your consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
I'm Rick Showers from Noble RV, and we're having a moving sale at our Spruce Grove store. Now, our new store in Leduc is huge, and we have room for lots more. But we have over 100 quality used RVs here in Spruce Grove, and I'd rather give you a great deal than pay a mover to take it to Leduc. Does that make sense to you, Johnny?
Makes perfect sense to me, Rick. So what's your plan?
Well, Johnny, first thing is we're going to take the moving costs off the price of every used RV in Spruce Grove, and we do accept offers. So find the perfect used RV right here. We have over 100 camping trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, tent trailers, and motorhomes. See anything you like, Johnny?
Might just keep this one for myself, Rick.
Yeah, we get that a lot, but the moving sale is for a very limited time. We have to close the Spruce Grove store in just a couple weeks. But if we happen to have what you're looking for, then it's a win for both of us.
And that's NobleRV.ca.
We roll through on a busy Friday afternoon. Happy draft day for all of those who celebrate. Love the NHL draft. Hey, shout out early on Stephen Ellis, who we had on the show earlier from dailyfaceoff.com. He is 5 for 5 on his mock draft. He had Celebrini, then he had Lev Shinoff. He also had Seneca going 3rd, Caden Lidstrom 4th, and Ivan Demidov going 5th to the Montreal Canadiens. Now he has defenseman Zane Perrick from Saginaw going 6th to Utah. Can he go 6? It's hard, man. Like, it's really difficult. Just to get 5 for 5 is pretty good. So we'll see what happens. Have yourselves an awesome weekend. Please do not be inebriated and drive. There's been a little bit of an increase in that lately. So please, let's get back on track. Be smart, be safe, get home safe, and have yourselves an awesome weekend. Enjoy the draft. Enjoy Riverhawks. Big weekend for the Riverhawks. You also have F1 and then free agency Monday. And we will be here 10 a.m. on Monday. Edmonton's only all sports radio station, Sports 1440. Be sure to tune in. We appreciate you listening. As always, enjoy the weekend. Here is the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by High Street Insurance, driven by people, not products. They're people taking care of people for 10 years, serving Canadian businesses just like yours. HighStreetInsurance.com. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
The Edmonton Oilers assigned goaltender Calvin Pickett to a 2-year contract extension with an AAV of $1 million. The draft is underway. San Jose Sharks, no surprise, taking Malcolm Celebrini out of Boston. Chicago Blackhawks picked Artem Levshunov out of Michigan State. Ducks Beckett Seneke. Bit of a surprise there. You'll want to check out his reaction. The Blue Jackets taking Medicine Hat Tigers forward Caden Lindstrom. Canadians take Ivan Demidov out of Russia. And just now, the Utah Hockey Club taking Tej Aginla, son of Jerome. Keep it locked here on Sports 1440. Turn Sports will keep you up to date on all the NHL draft that's going on right now in the CFL. Toronto leads Montreal 3-0 in the first quarter. The Jays in action. They're on top of the Yankees 1-0 in the bottom of the third with a runner on first and 2 outs. Copa America Earlier on today, Colombia blanks Costa Rica 3-0. In about an hour and 10 minutes, Brazil will take on Paraguay. And in the WNBA, after 1, the Sun and Dream tied at 19 apiece. Later tonight, the Mercury hosting the Sparks. Some news from the association. Raptors guard Emmanuel Quickly intends to sign a 5-year, $175 million deal to stay in Toronto. He was acquired from the Knicks on December 30th, along with Canadian RJ Barrett for forward OG Anunoby, and it looks like Andrew Wiggins will not be taking part in the Olympics with Team Canada this summer. According to Doug Smith of the Toronto Star, the Golden State Warriors playing some hardball with Wiggins while looking to trade him, preventing him from representing his country in Paris. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Up next, it is Turn Sports. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 14.